With access to Copilot Chat and other powerful tools, the Microsoft 365 Copilot app helps you unlock your productivity. We'll show you how to use the AI-powered Copilot Chat to get answers to your questions grounded in your own professional data. You'll see how to transform your chats into editable, shareable documents using Copilot Pages. You'll also learn how to install and create Copilot agents to handle specific tasks, and quickly create automated workflows using Copilot Actions. The Microsoft 365 Copilot app is home to Copilot Chat, Pages, and all the web apps in the Microsoft online ecosystem. In this video, we'll take a tour of the Microsoft 365 Copilot web app, and we'll also see a few other ways to access Copilot Chat. All users with a work or personal Microsoft account can use the Microsoft 365 Copilot app, which is formerly the Microsoft 365 web portal or office.com. For this course, though, it's important to note that I'll be using a work account with a paid Copilot license. Starting in the Edge browser, navigate to m365.cloud.microsoft to reach the Microsoft 365 Copilot. Now, I'm already signed in with my Microsoft account. If you're not signed in, you'll be prompted to do so. Let's start by exploring the left navigation. At the top of the left navigation, you can see this grid or waffle icon, which we can click to open the app launcher with options to launch various Microsoft 365 web apps, as well as create new files. Click on that icon again to close the app launcher. The left navigation also gives us access to the different screens of Microsoft 365 Copilot. In the home screen, you'll find options to install apps. You'll also find a search bar to look for files and other items, as well as lists of recommended files and a quick access list. In the Copilot screen, you can access the Copilot Work and Web Chat, which we'll explore more of in this course. On the Action screen, you can create simple automated workflows using Copilot. On the Create screen, you'll see options to create files in various Microsoft apps like Word and PowerPoint. Selecting OneDrive, you can of course access your OneDrive for Business account. Depending on the size of your screen, you may see other apps, or like me, you may need to open this three dots menu to find Pages, which is a web app where you can work with editable, shareable documents made from Copilot chats. You'll also see the option to view other Microsoft web apps. Next, click on Settings and More. Here you can find the options Settings, Help, and Feedback. Select Settings to open the Settings pane, where you can configure themes, language and time zone settings, activate dark mode, change your password, and more. I'll close the Settings pane. Click on your profile picture or initials to open the Account Manager for your profile. Here you can find the option to sign out, view your account, manage your Microsoft 365 profile, switch to another signed-in account, and sign in with a different account. Click Outside to close the Account Manager. In addition to the Microsoft 365 Copilot app, there are a few other places where you can access Copilot Chat. In the Edge browser, we can click the Copilot icon in the top right corner to open the Copilot Chat pane. Click there again to close the pane. Now I'll go down to the taskbar and switch over to Teams. In the left navigation, if you open the Chat module, you'll find an option to chat with Copilot at the top of the chat pane, as well as in the left navigation. Now switching over to the new Outlook app, here you'll also see a Copilot icon in the left navigation, which you can of course click to access Copilot Chat. Now you've seen how to navigate the Microsoft 365 Copilot app and find Copilot Chat. Microsoft 365 Copilot Chat harnesses the power of large language models and grounding in data on Microsoft Graph to deliver personalized answers to your questions. I'm using Copilot Chat in the Microsoft 365 Copilot web portal. Let's explore how to use it for general inquiries, organization-specific information, and web content. Copilot's large language models, or LLMs, are trained to understand and respond to a wide range of topics. I've got Copilot Chat open in the Microsoft 365 Copilot web portal. At the top of the chat, you'll see tabs for Work and Web. If you want to try out Copilot's generative AI technology without grounding in your personal or professional data, toggle on the Web tab. To ask a question, you can select one of the available suggested prompts, or select View Prompts above the Compose box to see even more prompts in the Copilot prompt gallery. But I'll close the gallery and instead enter my own prompt by clicking inside the Compose box and entering a general question. What is a smart home? Click the Send button to submit the prompt, and Copilot will provide an answer using its LLMs and internet search as a knowledge base. Below the reply, you'll see options to copy the response, as well as to share the prompt and copy with the response. You'll also see suggestions of follow-up questions related to the topic. Select a suggestion and click Send to see Copilot's reply. However, Copilot's true strength lies in integrating with your Microsoft ecosystem. The paid version of Copilot Chat can communicate with OneDrive, SharePoint, and Microsoft Graph to access files, messages, emails, and other data from your organization. Of course, Copilot Chat can only work with data that you have permission to access. It uses this data as grounding to come up with answers most relevant to you. To use this feature, switch back to the Work toggle. Now, if you want Copilot Chat to be able to access the internet as well as your own data, click on More Options, and under Copilot Response Includes, make sure the Web Content option is switched on. I'll click away to close the More Options menu. To see what kinds of information you can reference, activate your cursor inside the Compose box and type in a /. Now you'll see an overlay with tabs including All, People, Files, Meetings, and Emails. I'd like to see what one of my colleagues has said on the subject of smart homes, so I'll select the People tab. Then I'll select my colleague Mike Jones from the list of suggestions. Now I'll edit the message to say, "What has Mike Jones said about smart homes?" After I press Enter to submit the prompt, Copilot combs through documents and communications by Mike to put together a thorough response. It provides a list of numbered citations in the body of the response, as well as endnotes below the response. Hover over a citation or endnote to display an overlay with a link to the source, along with follow-up questions about the source, such as, "Summarize this." You can click on this source to open the document, email, or message in a new tab. Now I'll close the tab to return to the chat. And now you've seen how to leverage Microsoft 365 Copilot Chat to get information and search more productively. With Microsoft 365 Copilot Chat, you can start a separate AI chat for whatever topic you're exploring. In this video, we'll discover how to start a new chat, switch to older chats, and manage your chat history. I've got an ongoing conversation open in the Work tab of Copilot Chat in the Microsoft 365 Copilot web portal. It's important to be aware that Copilot remembers what you've said within the active chat, and it will use previous questions and answers for context, but it can't refer to other conversations outside of the current one. To illustrate this, in the Compose box, I'll ask, "What is the last question I asked you?" and press Enter to submit the prompt. Notice how Copilot gives a response based on the current chat's history. Let's start a new conversation by clicking the New Chat button. I'll again ask, what is the last question I asked you? Copilot responds by reminding me that it doesn't have the ability to recall previous conversations. However, when you start a new chat, your old chats aren't lost. Copilot saves your chat sessions so you can review or extend previous topics. When using chat in the Microsoft 365 Copilot web portal, your chat history will appear by default in the right-hand pane, displaying the name of the chat and the time you last interacted with it. You can click See More to display even more conversations in your chat history. You can also click the Panel button to hide the pane and to show it again. Now I'll select an older chat from the list to dive back in. This time, I'll again ask, what is the last question I asked you? And Copilot generates an accurate answer based on the current chat. Keeping your chats organized is simple with a few quick actions. Chats in your history are given titles automatically. If you want to rename a chat for better clarity, hover over it, click the three dots, and select Rename. In the Rename Chat overlay, delete the default title and type in a new name. Then click Save. Now my chat has been renamed. If you need to declutter, deleting a chat is just as easy. Again, hover over the chat you want to delete, click the three dots, and choose Delete. A notification opens letting us know that deleting the chat is permanent, but any content such as files or emails referenced in the chat will not be deleted. Click Delete again to confirm. And now you've seen how to manage your chats in Copilot Chat. When you use generative AI, knowing how to prompt effectively is key to getting the output you're looking for. In this tutorial, we'll introduce you to the 4 parts of an effective prompt. We'll also explore the Copilot Prompt Gallery, an extensive repository of prompts to use with Copilot for Microsoft 365. I've got Copilot Chat open in the Microsoft 365 Copilot web portal. I'm in the Work tab of Copilot Chat. I'd like Copilot to help me draft a project proposal. Microsoft support recommend using a specific prompt that has 4 parts: a goal, context, expectations, and a source. I'll click inside the prompt area and begin entering my goal. This is what I want Copilot to produce. I'll say, create a detailed project proposal. Next, we need some context. This is essentially what the output is needed for. I can say, the proposal is intended to secure a partnership with Eco Living, a green construction company. It's equally important to include your expectations. These refer to how you want Copilot to respond. For example, tone, length, or any specific details you want it to include. I'll say, emphasize our commitment to sustainability and innovation. Finally, it's always good to provide a source. This could be a file or another information source that Copilot should reference. Let's say use details provided in, I'll type a slash, I'll begin typing in the name of the file I want to reference, which is called Project Plan, and select that file from the menu that opens. I'll click the send arrow to submit this prompt. Copilot begins generating a detailed draft, and because I used a specific, well-structured prompt, I should expect better output. However, it's important to realize that answers can always be incorrect or biased, so you should always check the accuracy of your response. It's also a good idea to iterate, generating multiple responses and drafts, and adjusting your prompt as necessary. If you like a particular prompt, you can save it to the Copilot Prompt Gallery or share it using a link. Just mouse over the prompt in the chat, and you'll find the options Save Prompt and Copy Prompt Link. To add it to the Copilot prompt gallery, click on Save Prompt. In the Save This Prompt overlay, you can change the title, review the prompt, and click Save to add it to the gallery. In the prompt gallery, you can see not just your saved prompts, but also a vast collection of prompts recommended by Microsoft. Just click on View Prompts above the prompt area. The tabs at the top allow you to display Microsoft prompts or your prompts. Let's take a look at the Microsoft prompts. In the drop-down, you can use the checkboxes to narrow down the results based on the type of task. For example, catch up, learn, and prepare. Use the scroll bar to browse the list of relevant prompts. When you've found a prompt you like, you can mouse over it to again see options to copy the prompt link and save the prompt. Finally, if you want to browse prompts for all applications using Copilot, not just Copilot Chat, click on See All Prompts. The full Copilot prompt gallery opens in a new tab. Here, you can use the drop-downs to filter by app, task, and job type. For example, if you want to see just prompts for Word, you can open the app drop-down and check the box next to Word. Click away to close the drop-down. You can select any prompt to open an overlay with options to try the prompt in the relevant application, copy, save, and share the prompt. And you can scroll down to see ideas to make it your own, as well as see more like this. I'll close this overlay. Now you've seen how to prompt more effectively in Copilot for Microsoft 365. Pages is an interactive experience in the Microsoft 365 Copilot web app that turns your Copilot chats into pages you can work on and share with colleagues. This allows you to compile Copilot's output without having to waste time copying and pasting answers into a document. Let's start by creating a page from a chat. I've got a conversation open in Copilot Chat in the Microsoft 365 Copilot app. Below each of Copilot's answers, you'll find a button labeled Edit in Pages. When you click this button, a new page containing that same response opens in a pane on the right side of your screen. Rather than always create a new page, you can also add other responses from the same chat to the page you've just created. I'll scroll up to find another of Copilot's answers in the chat and click Add to Page. This answer too gets added to my recently created page. If you want to add an answer to a different page, whether that's a new page or an existing one, you can do that too. Just open the drop-down next to the Add to Page or Edit in Pages button, and here you have options to create a new page or add to a recent page. For this demo, I'll choose Create New Page, and a brand new page gets created using this response. Now, rather than just using the sidebar, we can also create and edit pages directly in the Pages screen. Navigate to Pages using the left navigation. If you don't see the Pages option, click the three dots button, and then select Pages. To create a new page from here in the Pages pane, click Add a new page. A new blank page is created. Whether you're working with a blank page or a page that already has content, you can edit the title and content in the workspace on the right. Just click in the title and content areas respectively and edit your text. If you no longer need a page, you can delete it by going to the Pages pane, clicking the three dots next to the page you want to delete, and selecting Delete from the options. Click Delete again in the prompt to confirm. And now you've seen how to create pages in the Microsoft 365 Copilot app. When you've created pages in Microsoft 365 Copilot, you can edit them directly in Copilot Chat or in the Separate Pages module. In this tutorial, you'll learn how to edit pages by formatting text, adding loop components, and drafting content with Copilot. I've got a conversation open in Copilot Chat in the Microsoft 365 Copilot web app. I've already created a page which displays in the right-hand pane. You can edit the title and the content of the page directly in this pane. Once you've finished editing, you can click the X in the top right to close the pane. To open the page again, simply find and click the link to the page in the chat where it says, "Here's your new page." You can also open another recent page in the right-hand pane by clicking on Open Recent Pages in the toolbar at the top, then searching for or simply selecting the name of the page you'd like to open. If you'd rather edit pages in the Pages screen, you can select the View All Pages button in the top left corner of the pane. Here in the Pages screen, select a chat to edit from the Pages pane. In addition to simply editing the title and content, you can also modify text by adding formatting as well as various kinds of objects. Let's format some text. Select the text you'd like to format. In the toolbar, you'll see various formatting options including bold, italic, underline, strike through, heading 1, heading 2, heading 3, and even comment. Click the three dots button to display even more options, including options for headings and lists, as well as color and formatting. I'll go ahead and apply a red color to this text. Now I'll select the text again and apply the style heading 1. Just like in other Microsoft apps, you can use undo and redo to manage your changes. To undo the last action, right-click anywhere on the page. In the context menu, select Undo. Or use the keyboard shortcut Ctrl-Z. To redo the last action, I'll use the keyboard shortcut Ctrl-Y. Pages are essentially an extension of Microsoft Loop. This means you can do many of the things that you can do in Loop in Pages, like adding all kinds of objects. To add a loop object, hover your mouse on the page and click the plus icon in the left margin to add the object below. The menu of objects you can add is long. Let's go ahead and add a simple table. Finally, Pages is thoroughly integrated with Copilot. You can use Copilot to draft and rewrite content. If you need to generate content in a blank line of text, you can place your cursor in the blank line and select the Copilot icon in the right margin. This opens the Draft with Copilot tool. You'll see some suggested prompts, or you can enter a custom one. For example, I'll ask Copilot to write a new paragraph about a related project. You can even reference a file or other page by clicking the File References button or typing a /, then searching for and choosing the name of the file you want to reference. To submit the prompt, press Enter or click Send. You can continue refining the draft by submitting a new prompt, say, make this shorter. In the overlay, you'll see all drafts for this content so you can compare them. If you don't like the most recent draft, you can click the Undo button to remove it. Click the X to close the overlay when you're done. In addition, we can even open the Copilot pane right inside of a page to chat with Copilot. In the toolbar at the top, just click the Copilot icon to open the pane. Enter a prompt. I'll select a suggested prompt here, then click Send, and Copilot will generate a response. Now you've seen how to edit pages in the Microsoft 365 Copilot app. Pages in Microsoft 365 Copilot are not only editable, they're shareable too. You can share a link to edit a page in Microsoft Loop or embed it directly in Teams or another app as a Loop component. To start, I'll share a link to this page that I've got open in the Pages screen of the Microsoft 365 Copilot web app. Sharing a page link allows other people to edit or just view the page in loop, depending on the permissions you set. In the top right corner, you'll see options such as Copy Component and Share. Click on Share, then select Page Link. An overlay opens confirming that the link has been copied. By default, anyone in your organization with the link can edit the page. If you need to change the link permissions, click on Settings. In the Link Settings overlay, here you can choose who the link works for: people in your organization, only people with existing access, or people you choose. If you want to share only with specific people, select People You Choose, then enter the name, group, or email of the intended recipients. I'll choose my colleague Mike Jones. Under More Settings, open the drop-down and choose the desired editing permissions. Keep Can Edit selected to allow collaborators to make changes, or select Can View if you don't want to allow changes. I'll keep this set to Can Edit. Optionally, you can set an expiration date for the link. I'll skip this step and click Apply to save the settings, then close the overlay. Now to share the link, I'm going to open Teams from my taskbar and use Ctrl-V to paste the link in a chat with Mike, then send the message. Let's see what happens when we click the link. The page opens in a new browser tab in the Loop web app where anyone with permissions can edit it. Now I'll close this tab, switching back to Pages. Another way to share a page is to embed it as a Loop component in an app. This method allows anyone with permissions to edit the component directly inline in another app like Teams, Outlook, OneNote, or Whiteboard. Mouse over the page you want to share in the Pages pane, click the three dots button, click Share Component. You can configure settings for the component if needed, but I'll go ahead and close this overlay. I'll switch back over to Teams, paste the component in the chat with Mike, and hit Send. You can see the Loop component has been embedded in the chat. Loop components are great for real-time collaboration. When the other user opens the component, their profile picture and cursor appear inside, and we can see any edits they decide to make in real time. When you've shared a page, you can see the different locations you've shared it in. I'll switch back to the Edge browser. In the top right of my page, I'll click on Shared Locations. Here, we can find a link to open the component in Loop at the top, and links to open it in other shared locations, such as Teams. A final way to share a page is to print it or export it as a PDF. For this, we'll need to open it in Loop first. So I'll click the link at the top of this menu, and the page opens in Loop. In the top right corner, click the three dots button. In the menu, select Print and PDF Export. The Print dialog opens. In the Printer menu, you can choose your printer or select Save as PDF. I'll save this as a PDF. So after choosing this option, I'll click on Save, then choose a save location in the Save As dialog. I'll select my desktop. Verify the file name, then click Save. I'll close this browser tab to return to Pages. Now you've seen how to share pages in the Microsoft 365 Copilot app. For commercial users with a Copilot license, the Microsoft 365 Copilot app comes with Visual Creator, a built-in agent that generates images and videos in the blink of an eye. To access Visual Creator, Start in the Copilot screen of Microsoft 365 Copilot. In the right-hand pane, under Agents, select Visual Creator. In the main workspace, you'll see sample prompts that you can use to generate visuals. You can click View Prompts to see more ideas in the Copilot prompt gallery. But I'll close the prompt gallery and instead enter a custom description in the prompt area to create an image. Let's try create a photorealistic image of a modern smart home. When I click Send, Visual Creator generates images based on the prompt. I'll scroll down to get a better look. Click an image to open it in a larger size in an overlay. We can click on the right and left arrow buttons to navigate between different generated images. For each image, you'll see options to download it, add it to Pages, and copy the image. You can click the three dots to view the content credentials, which show you how and when the image was generated. Just now, using AI. I'll select Add to Pages to save this image to a brand new page, which opens on the right. Now I can find the image at any time in Copilot Pages. I'll close this page. Now you've seen how to create images with the Visual Creator agent in the Microsoft 365 Copilot app. Microsoft 365 Copilot app offers a growing library of agents. These chatbots, made by Microsoft and third-party creators, fit a wide variety of use cases and can be added directly to Copilot Chat to extend its functionality. In this video, you'll see how to install and interact with agents. You can get agents in the Microsoft 365 Copilot web app and in Teams. For this video, we'll be working inside of Microsoft 365 Copilot. To install a ready-made agent, start in the Copilot chat screen, head over to the right-hand pane, and click Get Agents. In the Apps Store, scroll through the page to browse the list of available agents. You can also use the search bar in the Apps pane to search for agents. I'll search the keyword Coach. To display only agents and not other apps, click on Filter, check the box next to Agent, then click away to close the overlay. Now let's go on and install an agent. Select an agent to see its details. I'll choose Learning Coach. Scroll down through the overlay to view an overview and permissions for the agent. Click Add to install the agent and open it in Copilot Chat. The agent will appear in the right-hand pane. You can pin the agent to the top of the pane by hovering over it and clicking the thumbtack icon. To chat with your agent, just make sure it's selected in the pane. And just like with Copilot, you can select a suggested prompt or enter your own custom prompt and even add content like files, meetings, and emails. I'll type, "Help me master Copilot in Microsoft 365, and hit Send to see what this agent has to say. It's even possible to chat with various agents right within the regular Copilot chat. This is useful if you need to quickly switch between tasks using different agents. In the right-hand pane, let's switch over to Copilot. In the prompt area, you can click the @ button or simply type an @ symbol. Then select the agent you want from the results to begin chatting with it. You'll see a banner at the top of the prompt area indicating which agent you're chatting with. Let's send another message to this agent. When you need to stop chatting with an agent, click on the X in the banner. Lastly, let's see how to uninstall an agent. In the right-hand pane, hover over the agent you want to uninstall, click the three dots, and then select Uninstall. Click Uninstall in the prompt to confirm, and the agent gets removed from the pane. Now you've seen how to install and interact with agents in the Microsoft 365 Copilot app. The Agents Builder in the Microsoft 365 Copilot app allows you to create your very own custom chatbot powered by Copilot Studio. This lets you streamline your workflows by tailoring your chat experience to specific tasks. In this video, you'll see how to build and publish a custom agent using the Customer Insights template. Currently, you can create an agent in the Microsoft 365 Copilot app or in Teams. Just be aware that some features of custom agents require a dedicated Microsoft 365 Copilot license. Starting in the Copilot screen of Microsoft 365 Copilot, click on Create an Agent in the right-hand pane to launch the Copilot Studio overlay. In the Describe tab, you will find various templates to help you get started, or you can enter a custom prompt to describe what you want the agent to do. For this tutorial, I'm going to choose the Customer Insights Assistant template. This template is designed to provide relevant information and insights about customers to your team. We can continue chatting to make any customizations. For example, I'll ask the Agent Builder to change the name to Hamotic Customer Agent. I can see the name has been updated in the preview on the right. To set up your agent in detail, switch to the Configure tab. We can change the icon by clicking the pencil next to the current icon. In the Change Icon overlay, click on Change Icon and choose an image in File Explorer, then click Open. If you want to add a background color, click Set Background and use the color picker and slider to choose a color. Select Close, then click Save to update the icon. You can also edit the name, description, and instructions for your agent. It's a good idea to review the instructions thoroughly and even consult the documentation which is linked below. You can customize these instructions however you see fit. For example, instead of communicate in a formal manner, let's change this to communicate in a friendly manner. Scrolling down to the Knowledge section, here you can customize the knowledge source for your agent to reference. Depending on your license, you can specify up to 20 knowledge sources and add Microsoft Graph connectors. Click Browse to look for a SharePoint site, file, or folder, or paste in a public URL or link to a SharePoint location. I'll paste the link to my customer database on SharePoint. If you want the agent to access information on the internet, leave the web search toggle on. If you only want it to access your internal sources, you can switch this toggle off. The knowledge sources are listed below. Next to each one, you'll find a 3 dots icon for options for managing them. Scrolling down further, you'll find special capabilities that you can toggle on for your agent: code interpreter and image generator. I don't need these capabilities for my agent, so let's move on to the starter prompts. We can see these same prompts in the preview on the right. Now you can edit the title or message of a prompt as required, but I'm going to leave them as is. Click the trash can icon to remove a prompt you don't need. Drag and drop prompts to reorder them using the grab handles. Below, there's also the option to add a new starter prompt if desired. It's important to test your agent before publishing. Let's select a starter prompt. What insights do we have about our customer? I'll edit this to include the name of the customer, then click Send. The agent responds with a detailed breakdown including an overview, top products or services, and other insights. When you're ready to publish, click on Create to finalize your agent. A prompt opens confirming that the agent was created successfully. Here you'll find a link to the agent that you can copy and an option to change sharing settings if you want other members of your organization to use the agent. Click on Go to Agent to open the new custom agent in Copilot. Your agent will appear in the list of agents on the right. This has been an overview of creating custom agents in the Microsoft 365 Copilot app. After you've built a custom agent in the Microsoft 365 Copilot app, you can continue making changes to keep it up to date. You can also share your agent with colleagues throughout your organization. To manage custom agents, start in the Copilot chat screen of the Microsoft 365 Copilot app and head over to the right-hand pane. Here you'll find a list of agents, including any custom agents you've made, like my Hamotic customer agent. We can manage agents directly in this list. Just hover over the agent. If you want to pin it to the top, click the thumbtack icon. You can click there again to unpin it. And we can also uninstall agents. So click the three dots. Here you'll find the option Uninstall. Select it. In the prompt that opens, select Uninstall again to confirm your choice, removing it from the pane. Now, uninstalling the agent removes it from the pane, but it doesn't delete the agent. To delete or otherwise manage the agent, we're going to need to do that in Copilot Studio. So in the right-hand pane, select Create an Agent. At the top of the Copilot Studio overlay, click My Agents. Here you'll find the list of agents, which you can filter using the chips at the top by All, Draft, and Published. If you want to permanently remove an agent, that is delete it, mouse over it, click the three dots. Here you'll find the option Download zip file to export it, but to delete it, select Delete. And a prompt will open warning you that the agent will be permanently deleted and won't be available for any of its users. You can of course select Delete again to confirm, but to keep the agent, I'm going to select Cancel. Let's see how to edit an agent instead. To update and edit an agent after it's been published, mouse over it in the list and click the pencil icon. The agent opens to the Configure tab. Here we can change different details. Just be sure not to change the name. Otherwise, you can change the icon, scroll down to see the description, instructions, and a lot more. Let's go ahead and change this description. To submit your changes, select Update. A prompt opens confirming your agent was updated successfully, along with a sharing link and an option to copy it, and a link to change sharing settings. Here you'll find the option to go to agent, but I'll select Dismiss, and once again select My Agents to go back to the full list of agents. Here we can also share any agent on the list. To share your agent, mouse over it. Next to the pencil icon, you will see a Share button. Click there. In the Share overlay, you'll again see the link and an option to copy it, and you can choose who the link works for. Anyone in your organization, specific users in your organization, or only you. To share the agent widely, select anyone in your organization. If your agent uses files or folders on SharePoint as a knowledge base, you may see a warning reminding you to share these sources with the intended users. Click the Copy button to copy it to the clipboard, where you can now paste it in a chat or an email. And click Save to update these settings. Now in the confirmation prompt, I'll select Go to Agent. I return to Copilot Chat, and in the right-hand pane, I can see my agent is once again in the agents list, since I've republished it by updating the agent. Now you've seen how to manage custom agents in Microsoft 365 Copilot. With Copilot Actions, you can automate repetitive tasks like sending scheduled emails and requesting responses from colleagues. To access the Actions feature, start in the Microsoft 365 Copilot app, and in the left navigation, choose Actions. In the Create tab, you'll find options to create each of the three kinds of actions. Catch-up actions allow you to regularly summarize communications. Gather asks people to complete a task by a specific deadline. And prepare actions help you get ready for your day or meetings. Switch to the Discover screen and scroll down to browse through different templates in each of these categories. The action appears as a prompt. Summarize my emails related to employee benefits in the last week and notify me over email. We can customize this prompt by modifying the words in blue. For example, click Emails, then check the box for Select All to also include Teams messages and meetings, and click Away. I can edit the topic to read The Smart Home Project. Since this is a scheduled action, we can click on the frequency chip and choose a recurrence. Does not repeat, daily, or weekly. Let's make this weekly. Click Preview to check over the steps included in the action. This action will locate emails, Teams messages, and meetings related to the Smart Home project. It will analyze and summarize the content, and send a summary over email. Click Create to add the new action. We're now taken to the Manage pane, where we see a list of all active and inactive actions, along with their status. We can manage actions in a few ways. For example, you can manually run a scheduled action by clicking on the play icon, then clicking Run Now again in the prompt to confirm. Click the three dots next to an action to see more options. To pause a scheduled action, select Turn Off. Click the three dots to find the option to turn the action back on. If you want to remove an action, select Delete instead. Click Delete again in the prompt to confirm the deletion. Now you've seen how to automatically perform tasks with Copilot Actions in the Microsoft 365 Copilot app. Effective knowledge management is crucial in today's digital workplace. This course shows you how to leverage Copilot in SharePoint, OneDrive, and OneNote to get insights and manage files, pages, and notes more effectively. In this course, you'll see how to work with SharePoint agents, which provide real-time assistance in sites and document libraries. You'll see how Copilot can enhance your note-taking in OneNote by summarizing and organizing notes and generating more content. You'll also see how Copilot helps you effortlessly extract insights by summarizing, analyzing, and comparing files in OneDrive. Microsoft 365 Copilot can save you time creating pages in SharePoint. In this video, you'll see how to create a page from a template and an open prompt, as well as how to rewrite text with Copilot. I've got a site open in SharePoint. To add a page using Copilot, click the New button in the command bar, and in the menu select Page with Copilot. The Create with Copilot overlay opens. Here you'll find the prompt area where you can enter an open prompt, as well as a list of templates to choose from. By default, you'll see templates for a news post, like creating a newsletter page or an event. You can instead select the Page filter to display templates for pages. I'm going to select a page template, create a leadership team message page for topic communication featuring sections on description and quote. We can customize the page by changing the words topic description, and quote using the respective dropdowns, or by entering a custom value in the respective fields. I'll change topic to read vision, change description to insight, and quote to inspiration. For tailored content, click Add Files for better results. In the overlay, search for a file or choose one from the suggestions. I'll select Vision Statement, a Word document. At the bottom, you can use the checkbox to choose whether or not to create this as a private draft. I'll keep this option selected. To generate the content, click Create, and Copilot prepares the page. I can use my mouse scroll wheel to scroll up and view the result. And if I'm happy with what I see, I can select Keep It, but there's also an option to discard it. Let's keep it, and now click Save and Close in the command bar to save this draft. Rather than using a template, you can also create a page from an open prompt for a freer, more customizable way to create pages with Copilot. Again, click New, then Page with Copilot. This time, activate your cursor inside the Compose box. You'll see the placeholder text, create a news post about. Now, instead of a news post, you can again click on the page filter if you want to create a page about a topic instead. We can also click on View Prompts to see suggestions, and click Refresh to see even more suggestions. I'm going to enter a custom prompt, so I'll edit the prompt inside of this Compose box. To read, create an onboarding page for new employees featuring sections on company overview, key policies and procedures, and essential resources. Below the Compose box, you can use the dropdowns to choose a tone of voice like casual, professional, enthusiastic, engaging, or creative. Let's go with engaging. And you can choose a length, concise, medium, or longer. I'll choose concise. Click the Send button to submit the prompt. Copilot again generates a draft, and again we can choose to keep it or discard it. I'll keep it. Besides generating whole new pages, you can also use Copilot to rewrite text on a page. Select the text you want to rewrite. In the formatting toolbar above the text, click the Copilot icon. You'll see the option Auto Rewrite. If you mouse over Adjust, you'll see options to adjust the length or the tone. Let's see what Copilot comes up with when I choose Auto Rewrite. In the overlay, it comes up with a few different drafts. We can use the scroll bar to scroll through the drafts. And you can use the left and right arrows to navigate between the different drafts. For the selected draft, you'll find the option to replace the selected text with it, to insert it below, to regenerate the draft, as well as to adjust the length or tone. To use this draft, I'm going to select Replace. The paragraph gets replaced with the generated text. Remember, when you're using generative AI, you should always thoroughly check and revise content, as it may be inaccurate or not appropriate for your needs. Click Save and Close to save this new page. Now you've seen how to create and draft SharePoint pages with Copilot. Microsoft 365 license holders or people with a SharePoint agent pay-as-you-go plan can access a ready-made SharePoint agent from any SharePoint site, page, or document library to ask questions about that content. I've got a page open in SharePoint. To access the site's built-in agent, just click on the Copilot icon in the SharePoint title bar. The agent opens in the Copilot chat pane on the right. You can choose a starter prompt, enter a prompt in the prompt area, and below the prompt area, you'll see options to view more prompts as well as attach files. You can even activate your microphone to dictate to the agent. Let's go ahead and ask this agent a question. What's this site about? Click Send. We can see the answer here in the pane. I'll scroll up to get a better look. There's also an option to copy the response, and you can continue chatting with the agent by asking further questions or selecting follow-up prompts. You can also manage your chat history from here in the pane. To view and manage chat history, click on the three dots or Agent Settings button, and you'll see the chat history in the menu that pops up here. If you want to rename the active open chat, just mouse over it, click on Rename, and give it your own custom name. Then click Confirm. If you want to manage previous chats, just click on the three dots next to a chat to view the options, Rename and Delete. Click Delete to remove the chat. If you'd like to delete your entire chat history, you'll find that option as well. Again, click the three dots button or the Agent Settings button, and click on Delete All Copilot History. I'll choose my account here when I'm prompted to do so. Now I'm taken to the Settings and Privacy page of my account. Under Data Options, choose Copilot Activity History. Click Delete History. We need to select the Copilot activity history we want to delete, so check the box next to Microsoft 365 Copilot. Then select Delete to confirm, and this will remove your Copilot chat history from all of your Microsoft 365 Copilot apps, not just SharePoint. To keep my chat history, I'll click Cancel. I'm going to close this Settings tab, returning to SharePoint. And now you've seen how to chat with the ready-made SharePoint agent, powered by Copilot for Microsoft 365. If you have a Microsoft 365 license or a SharePoint agent pay-as-you-go plan, you can create your own custom SharePoint agent. Once you've built your agent, you can edit it to make it your own. You can create an agent from any site, page, or document library where you have edit permissions. I'm starting in a SharePoint site. To create an agent from here, click New in the command bar and select Agent. A new agent gets created based on this source, which is the whole site. At the bottom of the overlay, we can find the option to edit the agent. For now, I'll choose Open Agent, and the agent opens here in the Agent Chat pane. Let's close this pane and head to the document library for the site. You can create an agent for just the library by clicking New, then selecting Create an Agent. But I'm going to click away to close this context menu, and instead, if you just want to create an agent for one or more files in the document library, you can select the files you want to use. If you're only going to use one file, like me, you can just click the three dots button for that file. So I'll use my Customer Database Excel workbook. In the context menu, select Create an Agent. An overlay opens confirming that my Customer Database agent has been created. We can see the creator, the sources, so this is based on the selected file, and again we've got options to open the agent or to edit it. This time, let's click Edit to start configuring the agent. On the left, you'll see tabs for Identity, Sources, and Behavior, and on the right, there's a preview to test the agent. In the Identity tab, we can change the name. We can also change the icon. Click on Change. In the dialog box that opens, select the image file you want to use. Click Open, and my icon has been added. You can also customize the description. Now switch to the Sources tab. Here we can add up to 20 sources. I can see my SharePoint site has been added here as a source, and under that we can see that it's been sourced from document libraries, folders, or files. Specifically, I've got my customer database file. If you want to add additional sources from this site, click on Add Document Libraries, Folders, or Files, then choose a file or folder and click Select. You'll also see the option to add a SharePoint site by searching the title or entering a URL. Lastly, let's switch to the Behavior tab. Here you can change the welcome messaging to help users understand how to use the agent. And you can edit the starter prompts. Changes will be reflected in the preview on the right. Scrolling down, we can change the instructions for the agent. For example, where it says reply in a formal tone, I'll change this to a friendly tone instead. Before we save the agent, it's a good idea to test it in the preview on the right. For example, I'll ask, who are our top customers? The agent will respond based on information from the resources. When you've finished making changes, click Save, then close the overlay. When it's a file-based agent like this, the agent will open as a file saved in the document library, and we can interact with it here. I'll click X to close this agent. Scrolling down, I can see the .agent file in the library. You can also find custom agents by clicking on the Copilot icon in the title bar at the top. Click the chevron or More Agents button and choose from Approved Agents for this site and Other Recent Agents. Now I'll close the pane. Just be aware that agents will only work for you unless the site owner sets them as approved, which we cover in the next video in this course. Now you've seen how to create a custom SharePoint agent powered by Microsoft 365 Copilot. Once you've built a custom SharePoint agent, you can approve it for use by other members of the site, set it as a default, and make any necessary changes. I'm starting here in one of my SharePoint sites. To get started, click on the Copilot icon to open the agent chat pane on the right. Now the default agent for the site will open. We can choose the agent we want to edit by clicking on the More Agents button or chevron at the top and selecting one from the list of recent agents. To edit the agent, click on the Agent Settings or three dots button, and in the context menu, select Edit Agent. In the Identity tab, you can change the name, for example. Let's say I want to add a source. I can go to the Sources tab, search for the customer care site, and select it from the results. Now I've added a SharePoint site. Click Save at the bottom of the Edit Agent overlay, and now close the overlay. The agent has been renamed, as we can see in the chat pane. When you create a custom agent, it only works for you unless the site owner approves it. Since I'm the owner of this site, I can approve the agent by clicking on the three dots and selecting Set as Approved. In the prompt that opens, click Set as an Approved Agent to confirm. The agent will now be available to other users via the Agent Picker. Click OK. Now by default, when someone opens an agent from a site, the ready-made SharePoint agent will open, but you can set your own custom agent as the default. Just click again on the Agent Settings or three dots button, and click on Set as Site Default. Click Set as Default again to confirm. Click OK. Now when I close and reopen this Copilot pane, I can see it's my custom chatbot that opens here. Whenever you create an agent, it is saved as a file somewhere on your SharePoint site. Whether this is in the Assets folder, the Documents library for file-based agents, or in the special Approved Agents folder. If you want to delete an agent, you just need to delete the agent file. So we can quickly go to the file location from the agent pane by clicking on Agent Settings. In the context menu, select About. You'll see information like the description of the agent, sources, and the file location. Click the link to the location to open it in a new tab. Now to remove the agent, click the More Actions button to open the context menu and select Delete. Select Delete again to confirm. Now I'm going to close this browser tab, returning to my SharePoint site. I'll close the overlay for the agent and the agent chat pane. Now, when we open the agent chat pane again by clicking the Copilot icon, the built-in SharePoint agent, not the custom one, will open. Now you've seen how to manage SharePoint agents using Microsoft 365 Copilot. Custom SharePoint agents can be easily shared with colleagues. You can even add your SharePoint agents to a Teams chat to expand your collaboration. Note that this feature is currently available for Microsoft 365 Copilot license holders and people with a SharePoint agent pay-as-you-go plan. If you're sharing an agent, you should make sure other users have access to the pages and files it uses as a knowledge source. To share the agent, start in a SharePoint site and open the agent pane by clicking the Copilot icon. In the pane, click on the chevron or More Agents button and choose an agent from the agent picker. I'm going to select my custom troubleshooting agent. Now, it has to be a custom, not a ready-made agent for this to work. Click the three dots or Agent Settings button and select Share. In the Share overlay, you can add a name, group, or email of one or more people to invite. So I'm going to share this with my colleague Marcus North. In the drop-down, we can choose editing permissions, can edit or can view. Let's keep this set to can edit. Optionally, we can add a message. And you'll also find the option to copy a link and to manage link settings. To send the invitation email, click Send, and now close the confirmation prompt. In addition to sharing the agent file with people, you can also embed the agent in a Teams group chat in Teams for desktop or web. Future support will be available for SharePoint agents in a channel, mobile app, and one-to-one chats. I'm going to share this same agent in Teams, so I'll click the three dots again. This time in the context menu, select Copy Link for Teams. A prompt opens confirming the link has been copied. By default, all people in your organization can edit. If you want to manage permissions, you can click on Settings, then choose who the link works for, people in your organization, only people with existing access, or people you choose. Let's keep this set to people in my organization. You can also, under More Settings, change the permissions as well as set an expiration date. I'll click Apply and close the confirmation prompt. Now I'll go down to my taskbar and switch to Teams. Here I've got a group chat open with some colleagues. I'm going to use Ctrl+V to paste in the link to the agent and click Send. Now I can see the agent card in the chat. Click the button that says Add to this chat, and the agent gets added as an app in the chat, which chat members can interact with. Right away, we've got this welcome message. Here I can select an action, that is a starter prompt, and click Send to submit the prompt. The agent responds directly in the chat. You can also use an @ mention to chat with the agent. Just type the @ symbol. In the Suggestions menu, choose the agent and enter your question. Let's go ahead and send the question. You can remove an agent from a chat at any time. Find the chat in the chat pane, click the More Options button. In the context menu, select Manage Apps, and find the agent in the list of apps. Click More Options, then select Remove. We can click Remove again in the prompt, and the agent gets removed from the chat. Now you've seen how to share agents in SharePoint. Microsoft 365 Copilot in OneNote makes note-taking easy. You can use Copilot to summarize, rewrite, and add to your notes. You can even chat with Copilot to get specific information and summarize whole sections of notes. One way to leverage Copilot is to summarize or rewrite notes or transcriptions of audio recordings. I have a page of notes open here in the OneNote desktop app. We can summarize or rewrite an entire page by right-clicking anywhere on the page. In the context menu, mouse over Copilot, select Summarize Page, create a task list, or Rewrite Page. Let's select Summarize Page. Copilot drafts a summary at the top of the notes page. In the overlay, we can keep or discard it. I'll select Keep It to add this summary. You can also work with a selection of text. To rewrite this summary, I'll ensure the text is selected, right-click the selection, mouse over Copilot, then select Rewrite This. Copilot proposes a rewrite draft. This time, I'll discard the draft. You can also use Copilot to add to your notes. Place your cursor in a blank line of text. In the margin, click the Inline Copilot button. Select Take Notes with Copilot. In the overlay, you can enter a custom prompt, or to see suggestions, click Inspire Me. Click Generate to draft notes based on the prompt. We can keep it or regenerate for another draft, but I'll again choose Discard It. One powerful use of Copilot is creating a task list from a page of notes. Again, click a blank line and click the Copilot button. This time select Create a Task List. Copilot generates a to-do list at the top. I'll select Keep It to add the list to the page and click away to deselect the text. Besides drafting content, you can also chat with Copilot to answer questions about an entire section of notes and even organize them. To chat with Copilot, go to the Home tab and select Copilot. In the Copilot chat pane, you'll find some starter prompts, a prompt area, and options to add an image, view prompts for more ideas, manage content preferences to enable or disable web access, and activate your microphone to dictate your prompt to Copilot. Copilot can answer questions about any notes in the section. I'll ask, what is the Green Office Initiative? Since I have another note in this section called Green Office Initiative Plan. And I'll send the prompt. Now I can scroll up to see Copilot's response, which includes an option to copy the chat. Expand the References section and scroll down to see links to different notes. You can click a link to navigate to the relevant note. Finally, let's see how Copilot can save you time by organizing your notes for you. In the prompt area, type in Organize this section by topic and send the prompt. Copilot proposes a change. I'll click in the card to expand a preview of the suggestion. Scroll down and select Apply to apply changes. Notice that it's added a customer feedback group to this section of notes. If you don't like the change, you can select Undo. I'll close the pane. Now you've seen how to enhance your note-taking with Copilot for Microsoft 365 in OneNote. With Microsoft 365 Copilot in OneDrive, you can effortlessly extract insights from files without even needing to open them. You can summarize, ask questions about, and compare up to 5 files. I've got the OneDrive web app open, and currently Copilot is only available here, but soon there should be coverage for the desktop app as well. Copilot supports a wide variety of file types, including Office and OpenOffice documents, PDFs, web files, loop documents, and more. One powerful way to use Copilot is to get a summary of one or more files at a glance. If you want to summarize a single file, let's say I want a summary of my employee handbook, you can just mouse over that file and click the Copilot icon to show Copilot actions, which include summarize, create an FAQ, and ask a question. Select Summarize. Copilot displays a detailed summary of the document. You'll find an option to copy the summary to your clipboard if you want to use it in your notes. You can click Ask a Question to open up the Copilot pane and ask any specific question you want about the document. For example, I can select one of these suggested follow-up prompts about specific employee policies. Copilot combs through the document to find me the answer. I'll close the pane, then I'll uncheck the selected document. If you just want to ask questions about one or more documents, you can select multiple documents, or if it's one document, just mouse over it, let's say my company's network troubleshooting guide, and click the Copilot icon. Then select Ask a Question, and this directly opens the Copilot pane. We can ask a question or use a starter prompt. I'll try Create an FAQ from this file, and click Send. Copilot generates a handy FAQ based on this document. We can copy it to the clipboard if needed. In addition, we can summarize, compare, or ask questions about multiple documents, up to 5 files at a time. I'll deselect my network troubleshooting guide and select these two versions of an onboarding PowerPoint presentation. In the toolbar above the selection, I can click on Copilot to show the different actions, to summarize, compare files, and ask a question. This time, let's go with Compare Files. You can see I've accidentally included another file in the comparison, but that's okay. All 3 files display in a comparison table where I can compare different aspects of the file like the title, author, the time it was last modified, and we can scroll down to find a content summary and additional information. In this overlay, you'll also find an option to copy the response and to ask a question if you have any follow-up questions about the selected documents. Let's go ahead and close the overlay. Lastly, if you use Copilot a lot, you might want to manage the chat history. I'll reopen the Copilot pane by clicking Copilot in the toolbar, then selecting Ask a Question. At the top of the pane, select Agent Settings, the 3 dots. Here you'll find the option to delete all Copilot history, which lets you delete the Copilot activity history for all Microsoft 365 apps. And you'll also see the chat history just for Copilot within OneDrive. So I can see the different questions I've just asked. Click the 3 dots button next to a chat to find options to rename the chat and delete it. If you want to remove a chat from the history, just click Delete, and then it will get removed. In addition, in this Copilot pane, you'll see options to view additional prompts, attach further reference files, and activate the microphone if you want to dictate to Copilot. Let's go ahead and close the Copilot pane. Now you've seen how to use Microsoft 365 Copilot in OneDrive. Microsoft 365 Copilot greatly streamlines the document creation process. This course shows you how to get the most out of Copilot in several of Microsoft's signature creative apps. First, we'll take a look at Copilot's capabilities in Word. You'll see how Copilot can help you create and build on Word documents from a simple prompt and optional references. Next, you'll see how to create slideshow presentations in PowerPoint using the Copilot-powered Narrative Builder tool, and how to enhance your slide decks with Copilot. The course also explores how Copilot can be used to generate content in some of Microsoft's web apps, including Forms and Loop. If you ever find yourself staring at a blank Word document, Copilot can help you break your writer's block. With Copilot AI, you can generate a Word document from scratch or from a file and use the Draft with Copilot tool to expand your text. So here in the Word 365 Start page, I'm going to select New Blank Document. As soon as my new document opens, so does the on-canvas Copilot Start experience. Here you'll find suggested prompts, as well as a compose box for custom prompts. I can enter a prompt in the compose box to describe what I'd like Copilot to write. I'll say, draft a product proposal for Smart Remote. To create a draft from scratch, we can select Generate. However, in this case, it's a much better idea to provide some context, which we can do by selecting the option next to it, Reference Your Content. This allows us to refer to one or more files, meetings, or emails. You can also paste in the share link for a file if you have it, or type the / key when writing your description. I'll click on Reference Your Content. In the overlay that opens, you can browse through suggested content, which is organized into different tabs: All, Files, Meetings, and Emails. Now, I know that my latest email from Mike Jones contains a description of the Smart Remote product, so I'll select that email as a reference. Now that I'm ready, I'll select Generate, and now Copilot's finished writing its draft. Below the output is an overlay with several options. You'll see the option to edit the prompt, if you'd like to go back and change the wording, as well as the options Keep It to use this draft, Regenerate to create a new one, Discard It, and a compose box where we can enter more details. Let's select Regenerate to see what Copilot comes up with now. Copilot's generated the new draft, but we can fine-tune this even more by adding details. I'll click inside the compose box and now add some detail. For example, I'll say, add a call to action. Now click the Send button to generate a new draft, and Copilot generates a third draft. Now we can compare the drafts by using the navigation arrows. Click the left arrow to go back to the previous draft. Click the right arrow to go to the next draft. When you've selected the draft you want to add to the document, select Keep It, and Copilot uses that draft. We can also use the Draft with Copilot tool to add to an existing document. I'm going to scroll down. I'll activate my cursor at the end of this document, and notice that in the left-hand margin, we've got the inline Draft with Copilot tool. We can click here or use the keyboard shortcut Alt+I, and now in the inline Drafts with Copilot tool, we can enter a new prompt, reference your content. And there's even the option Inspire Me, which will continue writing based on the context found in the document. I'll select Inspire Me. Copilot's once again suggested some text, which I'll check. Since I don't want to keep this suggestion, I'm going to select Discard It. Now you've seen how to use Copilot in Microsoft Word. Microsoft 365 Copilot in Word acts as a handy writing assistant to help you fine-tune your document. Copilot can rewrite parts of your text with the tone you want, or summarize a selection as a table to make your ideas more digestible. I've got a document open in Word. To rewrite a portion of a document, select the text you want to rewrite. Next, you can use the Copilot icon in the left margin, or use the keyboard shortcut Alt+I, or instead, we can select the Copilot command in the mini toolbar. In the overlay, we can enter instructions for the new draft, choose Auto Rewrite, or select Visualize as a table. I'll choose Auto Rewrite to see what Copilot comes up with. Copilot proposes 3 drafts which we can view in the overlay. We can switch between drafts using the navigation arrows. You'll see options to replace, insert the text below, or regenerate the draft, as well as a compose box you can use to describe what you want Copilot to change. To see a new draft, select Regenerate. To fine-tune the active draft, click in the compose box labeled What do you want Copilot to change? And enter instructions for the new draft. For example, use concise bullet points. Click the Send arrow to see the latest iteration of the text. Use the arrows to choose the draft you want to keep. To keep the selected draft, you can either select Replace or Insert below. Just make sure to save any important content if you're replacing the text, as Copilot will remove the original. I'll select Replace, and the new draft replaces the original text. Copilot can also present text as a table to make it more digestible. To use this feature, once again select the text to rewrite, go to the left margin and click the Copilot button. This time, I'll select Visualize as a table. Copilot shows the draft of a table below the original text. In the overlay, you can again choose to keep it, replace the text, regenerate, or discard it. We can also make adjustments to the table using the compose box. I'll click Keep It, and the table is inserted below the original text. Finally, when you paste new text into your document, you can choose to rewrite it with Copilot. I'm going to scroll down and find a blank line in my document and click to place my cursor. I'll press Enter to leave some room. In the Home tab, I'll choose Paste to insert some text that I've copied to my clipboard. Under the new text, I'll select the Paste with Copilot button to open a context menu with Paste options and Transform with Copilot options. Under Transform with Copilot, we can choose to make changes, use auto rewrite, or again visualize as a table. I'll choose Make Changes, and again enter some instructions. Let's say add a heading. Press Ctrl plus Enter to submit the instructions. Again, we can choose to keep it, replace, regenerate, or discard. This time, I'll choose Discard It to remove the draft. Now you've seen how to enhance Word documents with Copilot. You can chat with Microsoft 365 Copilot in Word to get suggestions for improvement and extract information from your document. By chatting with Copilot, you can also insert and analyze images in your document. I've got the sample file for this video open in the Word desktop app. To chat with Copilot, select the Copilot command in the Home tab. In the Copilot chat pane, you can choose a starter prompt like summarize this doc, or you can chat directly in the prompt area. In the prompt area, you can click the Add button to show options to attach a reference source, view prompts, and add an image. In addition, we can select Manage Content Preferences to choose whether or not to enable the Web Content plugin. I'll keep this option switched on to allow Copilot to search the web, and click Away to close the overlay. Finally, you can also dictate a prompt to Copilot using the microphone button. Let's start the chat by entering a command or question in the prompt area. I'll ask Copilot to compare these products. Now, to ground the answer in a selection of text, you can select specific text in the document, click inside the prompt area in the chat pane, then click on Add Selection. A chip gets added to the prompt area to show the selection. We can scroll up in the document and repeat this process to add an additional selection. Click the Send button to submit the prompt. Let's scroll up to view Copilot's response. Notice that it includes citation numbers, which we can hover over to see a link to a reference, as well as the context it occurs in. Scroll to the bottom of the response to see a list of references. We can click on a link to a reference to jump directly to that spot in the document. To use the response in the document, find the place where you want to add it. I'll place my cursor and press Enter. Below the response, click Insert. You'll also find the option to copy the response to your clipboard. We can continue the conversation by entering a new prompt or selecting one of the suggested follow-up prompts. Let's ask Copilot, which product has the most advanced features? Press Enter, and Copilot again generates a response. To remove the selections from the prompt area, hover over a selection and click the X. I'll remove both selections of text. If you want to start a new chat with Copilot, click the Switch Copilots menu button in the top left corner. And if you've got any agents installed in your Microsoft 365 Copilot app, you can also choose one of them from the menu. At the bottom, you'll also see the option to manage your chat history. To start a new chat, hover over Copilot and click the Create New Conversation button. Besides working with text, Copilot can also create and analyze images. If your company has a brand library and you want to use a branded image, just be sure to use the word enterprise or brand in your prompt. I'll say, add a brand image of a smart home. Press Enter to view images suggested by designer. To add an image, choose your insertion point in the document. Make sure to select the image you want to use in the chat pane. I'll scroll down to view the bottom of the response, and here click Insert. The image gets added to the document. We can also ask questions about any images, including ones already in the document. I'll scroll up to find the image I want to use. Right-click the image and select Copy. Now activate your cursor inside the prompt area and use Ctrl-V to paste in the image. Now enter a prompt. For example, write captions for this image. Send the prompt to generate a reply. When you're done chatting with Copilot, click the X in the top right to close the pane. Now you've seen how to chat with Microsoft 365 Copilot in Word. Creating a PowerPoint presentation with Microsoft 365 Copilot couldn't be easier. With Copilot's Narrative Builder, you can build a presentation from scratch or using a reference file and customize the outline to best suit your needs. I'm starting in the Start screen of the PowerPoint desktop app. To create a presentation from scratch, you can start with a blank presentation or a template. I'm going to select New Blank Presentation. In the new presentation that opens, you'll find the On Canvas Copilot tool above the first slide. The menu opens automatically, displaying the options Create a new presentation, Create a new presentation with file, Add a slide, and Ask Copilot. Select Create a new presentation. In the prompt area in the overlay that opens, enter a topic for your presentation. For instance, smart homes. Optionally, you can choose to reference a file, but I'll click Send to submit the prompt. Now the overlay is displaying an outline for the smart homes presentation. We can scroll down to see all the suggested topics, which are ideas for slides with a title and bullet points. For better results, it's a good idea to include a reference file, which can be a Word document, PDF, or encrypted file. If you're starting from a Word document, you'll get best results if you use styles like titles and headings, and include any images you want to use in your presentation. I'll scroll back up and click the pencil icon next to the prompt to edit it. Now click Reference a File. Type the name of the file you want to use or select one from the list of suggestions. I'm going to select a Word document called Smart Homes Document. Now I'll send this prompt again to regenerate the outline. Before starting your presentation, check the outline and make any desired changes. If you want to reorder topics, simply mouse over a topic, drag the grab handle, and drop it into a new position. If you need to remove a topic, mouse over it and click the trash can icon or delete topic. To add a new topic, you can click the plus icon after an existing topic. In the Compose box, type in the topic of your slide, let's say environmental benefits. Optionally, you can reference a file, but I'll just press Enter to generate the new topic. Once you're satisfied with the outline, click Generate Slides. You can scroll through the generated slides, which display in Slide Sorter view, grouped by section. If you're happy with the slides, select Keep It. Otherwise, choose Discard. I'll choose Keep It. To resume editing, you can switch back to normal view, which I'll do by choosing the normal icon in the status bar. Notice that Copilot not only generates slides, but notes as well. I'll click and drag up on the Notes pane to display notes for my title slide. Note the warning that AI-generated content may be incorrect. Some slides may also have animations or transitions, which are indicated by a star icon next to the slide in the Slides pane. Now let's view this presentation by clicking Slideshow in the status bar. As I navigate between slides using the keyboard arrow keys, you'll notice that Copilot has even included animations and slide transitions. The content and images are taken, at least in part, from the source document. Now press Escape to exit the slideshow. Now you've seen how to create a PowerPoint presentation using Copilot. Microsoft 365 Copilot allows you to enhance your PowerPoint slideshows in a number of ways. Using Copilot, you can rewrite existing slide content and instantly add content, including slides, images, and speaker notes. I've got my sample PowerPoint presentation open in the desktop app. To revise text on a slide, select the text box you want to edit and click the Copilot icon next to the selected text box. You'll see several options: Auto Rewrite, Condense, Make Professional, and Visualize as a list. To transform this text into bullet points, I'll select Visualize as a list. After Copilot rewrites the text, you can choose to keep it, regenerate, or revert. Select Keep It to apply the changes. To add a new slide with Copilot, select the slide after which you want to insert the new content. Go up to the Home tab and in the Slides group, choose New Slide with Copilot. In the prompt area of the Copilot overlay, enter the topic for the new slide. For example, Environmental Benefits of Smart Homes. Optionally, you can choose to reference a file, but I'll click Send to generate the new slide. Again, choose to keep it or discard. I'll again select Keep It. Optionally, we can choose a suggested design from the Designer pane, which automatically opens on the right. And now let's close the pane. I'll click Got It to close the prompt that opens about the Designer pane. Now we can continue enhancing our presentation by adding images and speaker notes. To add an image to a slide, select the slide you want to enhance. Click Copilot in the Home tab to open the Copilot chat pane. Here you'll find several suggested starter prompts, and a compose box to enter a custom prompt. If you want to dictate a prompt, you can use the microphone icon in the compose box. But I'll click inside this prompt area and ask Copilot to create an image. If you need to use images from your organization's brand library, include the word enterprise or brand in your prompt. For example, I'll ask Copilot to add a brand image of a smart home and press enter to submit the prompt. Make sure to select the image you want to use in the chat pane, then click Insert to add it to the slide. Of course, you may need to resize or reposition the image. Finally, Copilot can add speaker notes to a selected slide or all slides of your presentation. In the prompt area, I'll type Generate speaker notes for this slide. When I press enter, the notes are quickly added to the slide, and I can drag up on this notes pane to get a better look. Click the X in the top right to close the Copilot pane. And now you've seen how to revise and add content to PowerPoint presentations with Microsoft 365 Copilot. With Microsoft 365 Copilot, it's easy to ensure your PowerPoint presentations are clear, structured, and organized. You can chat with Copilot to get a summary or specific information to ensure all key points are covered. Copilot also organizes your presentation into coherent sections and even translates your slideshow into other languages. When you've got a long slide deck, it can be useful to generate a summary to make sure your content is on the right track. To get a summary of your presentation, click the On Canvas Copilot button. You should see the options Create a new presentation, Create a new presentation with file, Add a slide, Summarize this presentation, and Ask Copilot. Select Summarize this presentation. The Copilot chat pane opens and Copilot responds with a detailed summary. I'll scroll up through the pane to view the response, which includes citation numbers. You can hover over these to see a link to the relevant slide and the context in the presentation. Below the response, you'll also see the number of references, which we can click to expand the references, and you can click on a link to navigate to the corresponding slide. Scrolling back down, I can also see follow-up prompts suggested by Copilot. If you need specific information about your presentation, you can ask a question or choose a follow-up prompt. I'll choose one of these suggested prompts. What are the potential challenges of smart homes? And Copilot replies instantly based on information in the presentation. Copilot can keep your presentation organized by grouping slides into sections and even suggesting new slides. In the prompt area, simply type Organize this presentation, then click Send. I'll scroll up to see Copilot's suggestions, which includes updating sections, that is, adding sections, and adding new slides. Choose Yes, please to implement the suggestions. Scrolling through the Slides pane, you'll see the new sections and the added slides. Microsoft 365 Copilot can even speed up translation and localization. Just ask Copilot to translate your presentation into the desired language. I'll say, translate this presentation into simplified Chinese. And again, click Send. In the reply, verify the language, Chinese simplified, then click Translate. Just like that, Copilot generates a brand new presentation in the target language, which opens here automatically. Be aware that Copilot generated and translated content may contain errors, so it's a very good idea to get somebody to check the result. I'll close this presentation. When prompted to save my changes to this file, I'll verify the file name and location, then click Save. Now you've seen how to organize and translate presentations using Microsoft 365 Copilot in PowerPoint. Microsoft 365 Copilot enables you to create presentations using your organization's branding. In this video, I'll show you how to use Microsoft's Copilot-friendly starter template in conjunction with a branded template to generate stylish, compliant presentations. While it's possible to create a presentation with Copilot using your existing custom templates, Microsoft recommends using a special starter template which has layouts that are optimized for Copilot to prevent potential issues. To get the template, I'm starting in the Bing search engine in my web browser. In the search bar, search for Copilot PowerPoint Starter Template. Now scroll down to find the Microsoft community article titled Keep Your Presentations on Brand with Copilot in PowerPoint. Let's open that article. And I'll scroll through it. Now, you can use this article as a reference for building branded presentations, but I'm going to scroll to the bottom and click the download link for the Copilot PowerPoint Starter Template. I'll open the file from the Edge browser Downloads overlay. This template uses a variety of placeholder sizes to support different text lengths and includes clearly titled layouts that Copilot can easily recognize. To view the layouts, right-click a slide thumbnail in the Slides pane, hover over Layout, and you'll find a variety of pre-built layouts like Title 1, Agenda Photo, and so on. Click outside the menu to close it. Next, go to the View tab and choose Slide Master from the Master Views group. In Slide Master View, click on any slide thumbnail in the Slides pane, press Ctrl-A to select all slides, then right-click the selection and choose Copy. Now we'll need to paste the layouts into a document that uses your organization's branding or into an existing template. So go to the File tab, and here I'll find the template I want to use. I'll select New in the left navigation, go to the Personal tab, and select a personal template, then click Create. To paste in those layouts, we need to go back to the Slide Master view via the View tab. Let's scroll to the top of the Slides pane, and here right-click the Slide Master, which is the first thumbnail. In the context menu, select Master Layout, and make sure that all of the placeholder types, like title and text, are selected. Then click OK. Now right-click the Slide Master again. Under Paste Options, select Use Destination Theme to paste in the layouts while maintaining your template's style. Of course, you can make any adjustments needed to align the layouts with your or your company's branding, such as themes, graphics, transitions, or animations. But I'm going to return to normal view by clicking Close Master View in the Slide Master tab. And now my template is Copilot compatible. In order to reuse templates, though, you must save them to the Custom Office Templates folder for personal use, or to your organization's template folder on SharePoint for organization-wide use. To save the file as a template for personal use, go to File, Save As, enter a file name in the relevant field, open the File Type dropdown, and choose PowerPoint Template.potx. You'll need to make sure the file gets saved to the Custom Office Templates folder. So click More Options, choose Documents from the left navigation, open the Custom Office Templates folder, then click Save. Now, when I return to the File menu, select New in the left navigation, and switch back to the Personal tab, I can see the custom Copilot branded template has been added. I can now use this template to create presentations with Copilot without any issues. I'll click the back arrow to return to the presentation. Now you've seen how to create a template to use Copilot with your organization's branding in PowerPoint. With Microsoft 365 Copilot in Forms, you can put together a survey or quiz in mere seconds. Once you've generated your form, you can use Copilot to add and rewrite questions. I'm starting out in the Forms homepage, that is forms.office.com in my browser, and I've got a Microsoft 365 Copilot license. Now, it's possible to use Copilot to create either a form or a quiz. In this tutorial, we're going to be working just with a form. So from the homepage, just select New Form. A new blank form opens in a new tab with the Draft with Copilot overlay at the top. In this overlay, you can click on the View Prompts button if you want to see some example prompts. I'm going to go ahead and enter a custom prompt, however, so activate my cursor in the Compose box, and I'll type, create a customer satisfaction survey for Hamotic products. For better results, you can attach a file. So you can either type a slash or click on the attachment icon, the paperclip icon. Begin searching the file you want to use. For me, this is called Hamotic 2026 Product Catalog, and select that file from the search results. Press enter or click the send arrow. Copilot now generates a draft form. We can use the scroll bar to see all of the questions in the form, and I can see it's even used product names from my document. In the overlay below the draft, you'll see the options to edit the prompt. You can keep it, regenerate, or discard the draft. You can also use the Compose box to add more details for Copilot to fine-tune the draft. I'm going to select Regenerate. This allows me to iterate by creating another draft that I can choose between. So we can choose between drafts using the previous and next draft navigation arrows. When you've got the draft you want, select Keep It. You can also create additional questions using Copilot. Just click the Add with Copilot button, and in the Insert with Copilot overlay, describe the questions you want to add. I'll say, add a question about NPS score. Note that you can also use the Inspire Me option if you want Copilot to generate an idea for you. I'm going to go ahead and select Generate. Copilot has added the question. I'll scroll down to again see the options to edit the prompt, keep it, regenerate, discard, and fine-tune the draft. Again, I'll select Keep It to use this question. If you want to improve or rephrase a question, Copilot can also help you rewrite it with ease. For example, I'll choose this question, please provide any additional comments or suggestions. Maybe we can make this more specific. So I'll click on the Rewrite with Copilot button, which appears in line, and then in the Rewrite with Copilot overlay, describe the changes I'd like to make in the prompt area. Let's try Add details to the question. Click Generate, and Copilot comes up with a few different drafts. Again, we can navigate through the different drafts by using the navigation arrows. If you want to keep the question and use it in place of the existing one, you can select Replace. Otherwise, again, we can regenerate, discard, or fine-tune. I'm going to select Discard it. Now you've seen how to use Microsoft 365 Copilot to create a new form or quiz in Microsoft Forms. Microsoft 365 Copilot in Forms gives you suggestions for refining your form and enhancing engagement. In this video, you'll see how to view and implement AI-generated suggestions, generate a plan to boost engagement, and send reminders with Copilot. First, Copilot can help refine your form by offering suggestions for layout, tone, structure, and more. I've got an unpublished form open in the Microsoft Forms web app. If you've got a Microsoft 365 Copilot license, at the top of a new form, you should see suggestions for your form. Here I can see I have 3 suggestions to my form. Next to this message, click on View Details to view the suggestions. In my case, these are Enable Response Receipt and Editing options, Apply a Professional and Clean Theme, and Boost Your Response. I'm going to choose Apply a Professional and Clean Theme. This prompts me to choose a theme, so I'll select one of these themes and click Keep It to apply it to my form. If you'd like to see more suggestions, you can click on Regenerate. When you're done going over the suggestions, click on Finish Reviewing. Now, in place of these suggestions, I can see Boost Responses, Generate an Effective Plan to Collect Responses. This option can help us to generate a response plan tailored to our goals to help increase participation. So click on Generate a Plan, and at the top of this plan, you will see a target. In my case, by default, this says I need at least 5 responses before May 27th, 2025. You can change this target and Copilot will adjust the plan accordingly. Just click on Adjust Target. Now we can choose a number of responses, let's say 10 responses, and a due date, let's say May 30th, from the number picker and date picker, respectively. You can also add people, a Teams group, or a channel that responses are required from. So click inside this field, and now we can search for people, Teams chats, and more, or choose them from the suggestions. I'm going to scroll down and choose one of my suggested channels. Click OK to update the changes. Based on context from the form and the targets, Copilot generates a plan. For example, I can send a tailored message on Teams to invite team members. I can share a poster with a QR code, and I can track response progress. Next to Send Tailored Message on Teams, click View Draft to edit the invitation. You'll see the intended recipients on the top based on the people you have chosen in the target. At the bottom, you'll see a draft message which you can manually revise, or to rewrite automatically, select Rewrite with Copilot. I'll scroll down. Copilot generates a few drafts. I can use the navigation arrows to navigate between them. When I've chosen my draft, I'll choose whether or not to embed the cover, then select Send with Copilot. I'll close the confirmation prompt that opens here. And I'm going to implement another suggestion, which is Track Response Progress. Simply switch on the toggle to begin tracking, and you'll receive AI-powered status updates and early insights by email. Click Done when you're finished implementing the changes. Now, in place of the suggestions above the form, you'll see confirmation that Copilot is tracking the response progress, along with a summary of the number of responses received and how many days are left in the target. You'll also see the option Ask Copilot to refine your form, which you can use to narrow down Copilot's suggestions. For example, I'll click inside here and say, Make this form more formal. Click the Generate button, and Copilot now tailors its suggestions to my prompt. Click on the chevron at the top to collapse the suggestions. Lastly, to follow up with participants, Copilot makes it easy to send reminders. You can send invitations by clicking Collect Responses. If you've already sent out invitations as I have, you can send reminders instead by clicking on View Responses. You'll see an overview of the responses, and on the right, the option to Draft Reminder. Click there to open the Boost Responses with Copilot overlay. If you don't see recipients at the top, you can click inside this field to enter a name, group, or email addresses. I'm going to search for and choose my Customer Success Stories group. Scroll down to view the message. And scrolling to the bottom of the message, you'll also see the option again to rewrite with Copilot, or you can edit it manually. Click Send, and I get confirmation that the invitations have been sent successfully. I'll again close the prompt. Now you've seen how to enhance forms and engagement with Microsoft 365 Copilot in Forms. Microsoft 365 Copilot in Microsoft Loop streamlines the process of creating pages. In this video, you'll see how to harness the power of generative AI to instantly create pages, draft content, and rewrite blocks of text. In addition, you'll see how to chat with Copilot inside your Loop page. I'm starting on the Loop home screen in my browser. That's loop.cloud.microsoft. To create a page with Copilot, we should start from a workspace. So I'm going to go to my list of workspaces and select a recent workspace called Employee Onboarding. I'd like to create a plan for new hires in this workspace. So first we need to add a page. In the pane on the left, we can click the Create New button, and then under In Current Workspace, select Page. A new blank page gets added to the right, and now we can set up this page with Copilot using the overlay at the bottom. You can just describe what your page is about in the prompt area at the bottom. If you want to add a little more structure to your page, you can choose Reuse a page to set up a page based on an existing Loop page, or you can use a template. I'm going to select Use a Loop template. Now I'm prompted to choose a template from the template gallery. I'm going to select the Project Planning template, then click on Edit with Copilot. This fills in the prompt to read Set up a page based on Project Planning, and it's attached the Project Planning template page. Let's edit this prompt. I'll say Set up a page based on Project Planning to outline the process of onboarding new hires at Hamatic. Press Enter or click the Send button. Now Copilot displays the draft, so I can close the Copilot overlay by clicking this double chevron. I'll use the scroll bar to browse through and preview the draft. Now click that chevron to expand the Copilot overlay, where you'll find the options Keep Draft and Go Back and Start Over. Select Keep Draft to use the page. Copilot makes it easy to draft new content in your page. I'm going to scroll down to find a blank line of text where I want to add my 3-month plan. So I'll click inside the line here, and here we can use the inline Copilot button, or alternatively, you can type a slash, and in the context menu under Copilot, choose Draft Page Content. Some suggested prompts appear. I'm going to enter my own custom prompt. Create a 3-month onboarding plan. We can click on this File References or plus icon button and attach a file or loop page. So you'll see tabs at the top of the menu for all files and loop pages. Search for the file or page you want to use, or if you see it, select it from the list. Mine is called 3-month plan. Press Enter or click Send. Now Copilot drafts some content. I can scroll down to take a better look. And in this Copilot overlay, we can rewrite further to make refinements. For example, I can say, rewrite this as a table. I'll press Enter to submit. And Copilot generates an additional draft. In the overlay, you'll see all drafts. You can mouse over them to preview different drafts. If you want to undo the most recent draft, mouse over it and select Undo. You can also copy the most recent draft by clicking the Copy Draft button. I'll close the overlay, and note that you can reopen this overlay at any time by clicking on the Inline Copilot button. You can also rewrite existing blocks. I'll scroll up to find the block of text, mouse over it, select the grid icon, and choose the option Rewrite with Copilot, and in the Copilot overlay, enter and submit a prompt. Let's say Rewrite as a list. Copilot reformats the text. If you want to insert a summary of your page, scroll down to the bottom, place your cursor, type a slash, and in the menu, select Summarize Page, and Copilot inserts the page summary. I'll close the Copilot overlay. The last way to use Copilot that we'll see is to chat with Copilot in your page. Just go to the toolbar at the top and click the Copilot icon to open the Copilot chat pane on the right. Here you'll find some suggested prompts. For example, summarize this document, and what files did I open last week? Of course, you can enter your own prompt in the prompt area. For example, what action items are in this page? Click Send, and Copilot generates a response. If you want to start a fresh chat, just click the New Chat button and you can continue the conversation. I'm going to close this Copilot pane. Now you've seen how to use Microsoft 365 Copilot in Loop. Do you ever feel stuck brainstorming for a project or a document? Microsoft 365 Copilot for Whiteboard makes brainstorming easy by suggesting ideas, sorting them into categories, and even generating a clear and concise summary of your notes. I'm starting in the Whiteboard web app at whiteboard.microsoft.com, but you can also use the Whiteboard app in Teams. Select New Whiteboard to create a new board. Next to the toolbar at the bottom, you'll find the Copilot button. When you create a new whiteboard, the Copilot menu opens automatically. To get ideas using Copilot, click Suggest. The Suggest Content with Copilot overlay opens. In the prompt area, enter a prompt. For example, suggest slogans for smart home, a green home automation brand. Press Enter or click the send arrow to generate suggestions. Copilot suggests 6 ideas at a time, which appear as cards in the overlay. You can go over these ideas, and if you find one you don't like, just click on the X to delete the suggestion. Once you've finished reviewing the suggestions, you'll find the options Insert to add the notes. If instead you want to come up with more ideas, select Generate More. Copilot adds 6 more ideas, which you can review. And you'll find the option Edit should you need to change the prompt. I'm going to select Insert to add these ideas to the canvas. They appear in the form of sticky notes. Above the selection, you'll find the option Categorize, which you can use to group them into categories. But let's generate some new ideas first, so we can open the drop-down next to the Categorize button, and instead select Suggest to have Copilot come up with 6 more ideas, which again we can review. If you like the ideas, click Insert, and those are added to the whiteboard as well. Now let's group these notes into categories. So a few notes are selected already, and we can click on Categorize to group them into categories. Instead, I would like to categorize all of the notes in my view, that is, all of the notes that I can see. So I am going to go down to the zoom bar at the bottom and click Zoom Out to make sure all of my notes appear within my view. And I'll even select the Hand or Pan tool from the toolbar and drag on the canvas to center these notes. Now click on the Copilot button. You'll find the options Suggest, Categorize, and Summarize. Select Categorize Notes in View. A confirmation prompt opens. Again, I'll use the Pan tool to pan down, and in the prompt select Categorize to confirm. Copilot groups the notes into color-coded categories, including green living and home automation. In the overlay below, you can choose whether you want to keep it, revert the notes to the way they were previously, or regenerate to come up with new categories. I'll select Keep It. Lastly, Copilot can generate a handy summary of all your notes on the whiteboard. Just click the Copilot icon and select Summarize Note Content. Copilot generates a summary which is a loop component. Now again, I'm going to use the Pan tool to display the options Keep It and Discard. Select Keep It to add the summary. And since this is a loop component, it is fully editable and can be shared and edited with colleagues. In the top right corner of the summary, you'll find the option to copy the notes. I'll switch back to the Selection tool in the toolbar and click that Copy Component button. Now the component has been copied to my clipboard. I can paste it in a Teams message or an email to allow my colleagues to edit it as well. Now you've seen how to generate ideas with Microsoft 365 Copilot for Whiteboard. In this course, we outline all the ways Microsoft 365 Copilot simplifies data management and analysis in Excel. You will see how to get insights from quantitative data in Copilot. Find out how to perform advanced analysis using Copilot in Excel with Python, and even use these tools to analyze and interpret text-based data. The course also teaches you how to use Copilot to clean and organize your data sets. With Microsoft 365 Copilot in Excel, you can perform complex actions using a simple description. This video will guide you through accessing Copilot, enabling autosave, and formatting your data for optimal use with Copilot. Let's begin by accessing Copilot, starting in this video's sample file on the Excel desktop app. Activate your cursor in any cell, then click the Copilot icon. You'll see options including Ask Copilot and Hide until I reopen this document. Select Ask Copilot to open the Copilot pane on the right. In order for Copilot to work, you'll need to make sure autosave is enabled and that the file is saved online to SharePoint or OneDrive. If autosave is off, you'll see a warning in the Copilot pane. Click Turn on autosave, and when prompted, choose a save location. In my case, my company's OneDrive. Next, ensure your data is formatted in a way that's optimized for Copilot. Copilot works best with tables, but it can also use ranges if they meet certain requirements. To format a range as a table, select the range, head to the Insert tab, and select Table. When prompted, verify the range, and if your table has headers, make sure the option My Table Has Headers is checked, then click OK. If you're using a range instead of a table, make sure it has one header row, no blank or duplicate headers, no empty rows or columns, no merged cells, and no subtotals. Finally, let's explore the Copilot chat pane. Scroll through the pane to find some suggested prompts. Find an option to manage your chat history, as well as the Compose box where you'll enter your prompts. Under the Compose box, you'll also find the options to add an image, manage content preferences, and use the microphone. Click the X to close the pane. Note that you can reopen it anytime using the Copilot icon in the Home tab of the ribbon. Now you're ready to start using Microsoft 365 Copilot in Excel. Microsoft 365 Copilot provides powerful tools to help you gain insights from your data. This video shows you how Copilot can generate insights and help visualize data in the form of charts and pivot tables. Let's generate insights for our sample file, which is a worksheet to track purchase orders for a company. We've got a large data set with several thousand rows of data and a dozen or so columns, including order date, sales amount, and profit. Now, a good place to start is to ask Copilot to summarize the data. Just select any cell, click the Copilot button to display a context menu of Copilot options, and in the menu, select Summarize using Pivot Table or Pivot Chart. The Copilot pane opens. Let's resize the pane to get a better look. And scrolling up, we can see that Copilot has been prompted for a summary, and that it's analyzed data in the range and come up with a pivot table showing the sum of sales for each of the product categories. Below, you'll find some suggested prompts for follow-up. If you have a specific question about the data, you can enter it in the prompt box. For example, which region had the most profits in 2025? Click Send, and Copilot answers the question and includes a pivot table, or sometimes a pivot chart. If you want to see more insights but don't have a specific question in mind, just ask Copilot, "Can I get another insight?" In this case, it's responded with a pivot chart showing the discount rate by ship date. Any chart or table Copilot suggests can be added to your workbook. Just click the button labeled Add to a new sheet below the latest insight, and the insight, in my case a pivot chart and the source pivot table, get added to a new sheet, Sheet 1. In the chat, you'll see the option to undo, but instead click Go Back to Data to return to the main sheet. If multiple insights are available, we can select the follow-up prompt, Add all insights to grid. Copilot inserts another sheet. We can scroll down to see all the pivot charts and pivot tables it's come up with here. I'll again click Go Back to Data and close the Copilot chat pane. Now you've seen how to interpret and visualize data using Microsoft 365 Copilot in Excel. Microsoft 365 Copilot's integration with Python in Excel takes your data analysis to the next level. Copilot with Python can perform all kinds of analysis from forecasting to customer segmentation and much more. This video provides an overview of Copilot with Python, not an exploration of specific use cases, as different data sets and business needs will call for different kinds of analysis. Let's perform some exploratory data analysis using Python on this sample file, which is an order tracking sheet that I've got open in the desktop app. Click on any cell, click the Copilot icon, and select Get Deeper Analysis Results using Python. Copilot is prompted in the pane on the right. I'll resize the pane to get a better look at its response. Advanced analysis will entail creating a new sheet for the results, automatically writing and inserting Python formulas, and answering my prompt in multiple messages. To start the analysis, we can select Start or start with Think Deeper for more detailed in-depth analysis. I'll select Start. Copilot adds a new sheet called Analysis 1, and it loads the data from my table onto the sheet. This data appears as a data frame, which I can see in one of my cells here. The PY in the cell tells us this is a Python object. We can also see PY in the formula bar, along with the code used by Python. Now we can select a suggested follow-up prompt, or explain to Copilot what we want to do with the data. I'll say, Generate summary statistics and graphs, and click Send. In a couple of steps, Copilot performs this analysis, and it adds some objects to the sheet. Now, in the pane, we can see an explanation of exactly what Copilot is doing here. Namely, it's adding some summary statistics, as well as a histogram to illustrate those statistics. Notice that charts and visuals get added as an image, not a customizable Excel object. Now, if you want even more detailed analysis, you can use Think Deeper. You can activate this at any time by selecting the Think Deeper button in the prompt area, or you can start the analysis using Think Deeper. To do this, we need to select Stop Advanced Analysis. Next, we'll start a new chat by scrolling to the top of the pane, choosing Chat History, and selecting New Chat. Next, switch back to the Orders worksheet via the tab at the bottom, and choose the starter prompt, Get Deeper Analysis Results using Python. When prompted to get started, this time choose Start with Think Deeper. With Think Deeper activated, Copilot performs multiple consecutive steps without even being prompted, including checking for missing values and duplicate records, and verifying data types. I'll again select Stop Advanced Analysis and close the Copilot pane. This has been an overview of Copilot in Excel with Python. With Microsoft 365 Copilot in Excel, you can get insights from textual data, like customer reviews. Copilot in Excel with Python lets you take this analysis a step further by performing sentiment analysis and generating word clouds. To get text insights with Copilot in my sample file, which is a table of reviews I've got open here in the Excel desktop app, I'm going to go up to the Home tab and select Copilot. Let's resize the Copilot pane. In the Compose box, I'll ask Copilot to summarize these reviews. Click Send. Copilot analyzes the table. I'll scroll up to see the summary, which is organized into categories like product qualities and features and customer service experience. At the bottom, you'll see the option to copy the answer if you want to use that. Next, I'll ask, can you perform sentiment analysis? In the response, I can see that Copilot has grouped the reviews into positive sentiment, neutral sentiment, and negative sentiment, with a brief summary of each. For more in-depth analysis, we can use Copilot in Excel with Python. I'll select the suggested follow-up prompt, Get Deeper Analysis Results using Python. When prompted to get started, I'll select Start. Copilot opens a new Analysis 1 sheet and loads the data from my table. Without even being prompted, I can see here that it has performed sentiment analysis on the customer reviews. So it's used a score to rate the sentiment, positive or negative, of each of the reviews. And we can take this analysis further. So let's select the suggested follow-up prompt, analyze the distribution of sentiment categories across products. And Copilot displays the sentiment distribution across products in a table. Finally, I'll choose Visualize the sentiment distribution across products using a bar chart. And the bar chart gets loaded to the analysis sheet. Scrolling up, I can also see the bar chart there. Another way to visualize text-based data is using a word cloud. So I'll send the prompt, generate a word cloud. The word cloud gets added to the sheet and also in the chat pane. I'll select Stop Advanced Analysis and close the Copilot pane. Now you've seen how to get insight from text with Microsoft 365 Copilot in Excel. Microsoft 365 Copilot simplifies the use of formulas in Excel. It can suggest useful formulas and insert calculated columns in a table, and it's also great for learning how to use complex functions. Now I've opened my order tracking worksheet, the sample file for this video, in the Excel desktop app. To get some suggestions using Copilot, click on any cell, click on the Copilot button, and in the menu choose Suggest a Formula column. The Copilot pane opens. I can see in the pane that Copilot has been prompted to suggest a formula column. Scrolling up, I can also see it's responded with a recommendation, order duration. Now it explains how this value is calculated and shows the formula, along with an option to copy it to the clipboard. We can also click Show Explanation to expand a more detailed description. Scrolling down further, we can preview the first few rows of the column. If I hover over Insert Column, you'll see a live preview of what the column looks like. To add the column, click Insert Column. It gets added to the dataset. In the chat pane, you'll see an option to undo if you want to remove it. If you have a specific calculation in mind, you can ask Copilot to add a formula for you. For example, I'll say, calculate profit margins for all orders. When I click Send, Copilot responds with a suggestion and an explanation. We can see how it calculated the formula using the if function. To include it, click Insert Column, and it too gets added to the table. Copilot is also useful for adding lookup columns. Copilot can add lookup columns based on data from another table, even if it's on another sheet. In my case, I have a sheet called Returns, which I'm going to switch to using the tab at the bottom, Notice that it contains the columns order ID and return status. So I want to add return status to my orders table, so I'll switch back to the orders sheet. And now in the chat pane, I'll ask Copilot to insert a return status column by looking up order ID in the returns table. Copilot responds with a suggestion to use XLOOKUP. We can click Insert Column to add the lookup column. Besides columns, we can also add calculated rows like totals and averages. In the chat pane, I'll say Add a total row. Scrolling up through Copilot's response, I can see that it's offered suggestions for several formulas to insert in the last row of the table, along with a preview of the total row. Click Insert Row to add it to the table. Finally, Copilot can help you understand how and why to use certain formulas, especially more complex ones. If you want to explain a formula already in your data, just select the cell containing the formula, click the Copilot button, and choose Explain this formula. Copilot is prompted to explain the exact formula from the cell and responds again with a detailed explanation, which includes all the arguments and step-by-step instructions on how the formula works. You can also ask any Excel-related question directly in the pane. For example, what's the difference between XLOOKUP and VLOOKUP? Copilot will explain the difference in an organized and detailed way. If you like, you can even choose to have Copilot read the response aloud. Let's go ahead and close the pane, and now you've seen how to use formulas with Microsoft 365 Copilot. Microsoft 365 Copilot helps ensure your Excel data is clean and consistent. You can use Copilot for some data cleaning tasks in both the desktop and the web version of the app. However, currently the tool Clean Data with Copilot is only available in the web version. So I've got this video sample file, some HR employee data, open in the web version of Excel. At the top of my file, I can see a banner that says Clean Data with Copilot. Copilot has 6 suggestions to clean your data. We can either click Show Suggestions to show data that way. If you're not seeing the banner at the top, you can also navigate to the Data tab, expand the Data Tools group, and select Clean Data. The Clean Data with Copilot pane opens. I'll resize the pane, which displays various suggestions. Now, I've only got a few suggestions here, but if you're working with a large data set, you might sometimes want to filter suggestions. You can click the Filter button at the top, and in the overlay, use the checkboxes to filter by suggestion type, table, or by column. I'll click away to close this overlay. Here I can see that Copilot has identified, first of all, some extra spaces, and it's highlighted them in the table. Below the suggestion, click Apply to implement the changes, removing the extra spaces. The next suggestion is inconsistent text for this column. Here I can see that it's highlighted a cell that has marketing with an uppercase M, which is inconsistent with other formatting in this column. So we can use the checkboxes to select the version of the text we want to replace. I'll keep the capital M selected. And in the drop-down, you can choose the version that you want to replace the text with. I'll leave the lowercase m selected. When I select Apply, this change too gets implemented. This tool can also be used to correct inconsistent number formatting. So as you can maybe tell in this sample file, I've got a column with inconsistent dates and another with inconsistent currency formatting. Unfortunately, the Clean Data tool is not recognizing that. However, the Copilot chat pane can be useful for these kinds of tasks as well, and you can use this in either the desktop or the web version. So let's close the Clean Data with Copilot pane. The Copilot pane may launch automatically. If it doesn't, or you close it accidentally, you can reopen it by switching to the Home tab and selecting Copilot.
In the prompt box, I'll ask Copilot to use MMDDYY formatting on the hire date column. Now it responds with two changes to review and apply, which are apply a date-time format and auto-fit the columns in D2 to D11. So I'll click Apply to implement both of these changes. Some other tasks that Copilot can help with are merging and splitting columns. Let's take my employee name column. If I want to split this column into first and last name, I'll just say split employee name into first and last name columns. Copilot responds by suggesting two formula columns to add, first name and last name. I can see a preview of those columns along with the formula used. Now let's go ahead and click Insert Columns to add these to the table. Similarly, we can merge columns. I'd like to merge the department and position columns, so I'll just say merge department and position into a job title column. Again, Copilot responds with the suggested formula column. When I click Insert Column, the calculated column gets added to the table. Let's go ahead and close the Copilot pane. And now you've seen how to clean data with Microsoft 365 Copilot in Excel. In addition to providing data insights, Microsoft 365 Copilot helps you make sense of your data by applying conditional formatting, sorting columns, and adding filters. One great use of Copilot is to apply conditional formatting to your table. This can be particularly useful when you've got multiple conditions that you want to apply. So I'm starting in my sample file, which tracks orders for a company. To get started, I'll click the Copilot button in the Home tab to open the Copilot pane, which I'll resize. And in the chat pane, we can say something like, highlight all orders with negative profits in the last 3 years. Click Send to submit the prompt. Copilot responds in the pane. Let's scroll up. I can see it's suggested one conditional formatting rule, and it's even included the formula for that rule, along with the option to copy it in case you want to reuse it. Click Apply to use that conditional formatting. You'll also see the option to undo should you decide you no longer want these changes. Similarly, we can sort and filter data in a more intuitive way, even when it requires sorting or filtering based on multiple columns or criteria. Let's try, for example, the prompt, sort orders ascending by date, then descending by sales. Click Send. Copilot has responded with two suggested changes. It's going to apply two custom sorts on two different columns. Click Apply to implement those changes. Of course, we can also filter data. Let's try the prompt, show only orders of more than $500 shipped first class in 2022. Again, it suggests two changes, two separate filters. Click Apply to filter that data. Of course, again, you'll see the option to undo the changes. If you want to remove all filters, you can also ask Copilot to clear all filters. It suggests removing all filters on the table. Click Apply to implement the changes. Now let's close the Copilot pane. And now you've seen how to format and organize your data with Microsoft 365 Copilot in Excel. Microsoft 365 Copilot makes it easy to import data from various sources. Just by chatting with Copilot, you can pull data from the web or from an image. For this feature, you'll need a Copilot license, a stable internet connection, and web search enabled for Copilot. I've got the sample file for this video, my market analysis workbook, open here. To get started, click Copilot in the Home tab to open the Copilot chat pane. In order to make sure web search is enabled, click the Manage Content Preferences button below the prompt box and ensure that the Web Content toggle is switched on. Now I'll click away to close the overlay. With Web Content enabled, we can ask Copilot for any kind of data from the web, and you may even be able to import it into your workbook. So let's say I want some information on the products of the Hamotic company. I'll say, list the products of Hamotic Corp from the web. When I send the prompt, Copilot responds with a numbered list of different products and descriptions. We can see citation numbers and a list of references at the bottom. You can hover over a number or reference to see a card with a link and the source URL. You'll also see options to copy the answer to the clipboard or insert it into a new sheet. I'll select Insert to New Sheet, and Copilot inserts a simple one-column table with the information. Another source you can pull data from is an image. If you don't know how to do this using Power Query, you can easily do it with Copilot. If you've got an image copied to your clipboard, you can paste it into the prompt area. If not, click Add an Image below the prompt area. You'll see options to paste an image, upload from your device, or upload from your phone. I'll select Upload from Device. In the File Explorer dialog box, I'll select a PNG file I've got saved here and click Open. The file is now attached to the chat box. Now I'll activate my cursor in the prompt box and say, Extract data from this table. Copilot responds with the extracted data in the form of a table. I can review the information in the answer, and if I want to use it, I can click Insert to New Sheet. Now the data is added as a table in a new worksheet. And now you've seen how to find and import data with Microsoft 365 Copilot in Excel.
Streamlining communication is essential in today's fast-paced work environment, and Microsoft 365 Copilot helps you do just that by enhancing productivity and clarity across Outlook and Teams. In this course, you'll learn how to draft professional emails quickly using Copilot's intelligent suggestions in Outlook. Discover how coaching features can help you fine-tune tone, clarity, and reader sentiment. Explore how Copilot summarizes long email threads so you can catch up on conversations in seconds. And see how Copilot in Teams can automatically generate meeting notes, helping you stay focused and organized during discussions. Microsoft 365 Copilot helps you efficiently draft professional emails in Outlook. You can use Copilot to write a new email, refine your content, and draft replies. First, we can configure Copilot settings to ensure that Copilot works in Outlook and also to give it custom instructions for writing emails. I'm starting in the New Outlook desktop app. From here, head to the title bar and click on the Settings gear icon. In the Settings menu, select Copilot in the left navigation. We start in the Copilot Control section. Here, make sure that the Turn on Copilot toggle is activated so that Copilot is sure to work in Outlook. Next, let's switch to the Draft Instructions tab. Here we can give Copilot custom instructions about what we want our emails to sound like. Just switch on the Use Custom Instructions when drafting email toggle, and in the Compose box, you can give it instructions concerning the tone, length, or a greeting you want to use. So I'll activate my cursor and paste in some instructions. Tone should be professional but friendly, greet people with hi, and sign off with kind regards. Click Save to update the instructions. And now let's close the Settings menu. Now we're ready to get started drafting an Outlook email message. Find the Copilot button in the Home tab and open its drop-down menu. Here, select Draft. A new email draft opens, and here we can see a prompt area where we can choose suggested prompts like short and friendly message or request information, or we can enter a custom prompt in the prompt area. For example, Thank everyone for coming to last Friday's Smart Home Fair. Press Enter or click Generate, and Copilot generates a draft. I'll scroll up to get a better look, and scroll back down to find options for using the draft. So we can use the prompt area to enter a prompt to refine the draft, or we can simply choose to keep it or discard the draft. Below these options, you'll find options to modify content, including retry, make it shorter, make it longer, and I'll scroll down to find change tone. Mousing over change tone, you'll find the options direct, casual, formal, or like a poem. I'm going to select make it shorter. Copilot generates a second draft, which again, you may need to scroll up to see. And we can use these navigation arrows to navigate to the previous or to the next draft. When you've selected the draft you want to use, select Keep It, and the draft gets inserted to the body of the email. Of course, it is a very good idea to thoroughly check the draft, as AI-generated content may be inaccurate. Now we can continue making AI-generated refinements even after the text has been inserted. So in the body of an email, just select the text that you want to change. Click on the Copilot icon, which appears inline, and in the prompt area, you can enter a prompt describing what you want to change, or we can scroll down to find options like auto rewrite and make it shorter. This time, let's try auto rewrite to see what Copilot comes up with. It generates a draft. Here we can choose to replace it, insert it below, discard, or again, modify content. This time, I'm going to discard the draft. In addition to drafting new emails, Copilot also streamlines the process of replying to emails. I'm going to select an email in my inbox. It opens in the reading pane. Now to reply, I'll click on the reply arrow. And notice that Copilot suggested drafts appear below. In my case, these include review project details, discuss availability, and there's even an option for a custom draft. Let's select Discuss Availability. Copilot generates a draft based on the content of the original email that I'm replying to. Again, we've got options to adjust the email using the prompt area, or we can scroll down to find options like Keep It, Discard, or Modify Content. I'll choose Keep It. Again, if necessary, be sure to make manual changes. I'm going to go ahead and send this message to Mike. I'll click on the Send button. Now you've seen how to draft emails with Microsoft 365 Copilot in Outlook. Microsoft 365 Copilot in Outlook gives you coaching suggestions to improve your email drafts. You can use coaching to get suggestions for tone, reader sentiment, and clarity. I'm using the new Outlook desktop app. To get coaching suggestions, go to the ribbon and open the Copilot button dropdown, then select Coaching. The Coaching Suggestions overlay opens. I'm going to scroll down to get a better look. The suggestions are organized into 3 tabs: Tone, Reader Sentiment, and Clarity. For example, under Tone, we can see Could be more engaging. We can scroll through this overlay to see different comments and suggestions and explanations from Copilot. Scroll down further to see options like Apply All Suggestions, Dismiss, and Retry. To iterate on Copilot suggestions and see more, select Retry. Copilot generates new suggestions. To implement suggestions, select the category you want to apply. For example, tone, or I'll select reader sentiment. Again, let's scroll down to find those options. Then select Apply All Suggestions. Copilot generates a draft based on the suggestions. We can use this scroll bar to look through the draft. Scrolling down further, you'll find the options Replace, Insert Below, Dismiss, Retry, and Modify Content. For example, we can make shorter or make it longer. I'll select Replace to use this draft. And of course, you're going to want to make sure to revise it and make manual changes where necessary. For example, we can find a lot of placeholder text which displays in square brackets, like date. I can replace this text with a real date. Now you've seen how to use coaching suggestions with Microsoft 365 Copilot in Outlook. When you're swamped with emails, Microsoft 365 Copilot in Outlook makes it easy to get caught up. With Copilot, you can get a brief recap of all your recent messages or see a summary of individual messages and threads. One way to quickly get caught up on email is using Copilot Chat. I've got the new Outlook desktop app open. To access Copilot Chat from here, I'll go over to the left navigation and click on Copilot. In the chat screen, you'll want to make sure the Work tab is selected so Copilot has access to your professional data. Now in the prompt area, enter a prompt. For example, catch me up on emails from the last day. Press enter or click send. Copilot searches my inbox and responds with summaries of emails sent in the last day. Let's scroll up to take a look at the response. Now notice that we can mouse over a citation number to see a link to the relevant email, as well as follow-up prompts that we can use, like summarize this and draft a response. We can also find a list of references by scrolling to the bottom of the response. You can click on the caret to expand the list of citations. You can click on a citation to open the relevant email or thread in a new window. Now I'm going to close this window. And we can also follow up on a citation in the chat. Just mouse over the citation, click on the Ask button, and then choose a suggested prompt. I'll choose Summarize this. A prompt gets filled in the prompt area. Summarize this email. If there are places I am at mentioned there, make sure to include those in the response. And notice the relevant email gets attached to the prompt area. Click Send again, and Copilot responds with a summary. Now, if you prefer, you can actually chat with Copilot directly from your inbox. So I'll go back to the left navigation and select Mail. To chat with Copilot from the Mail module, just click on the Copilot button in the top right corner. The Copilot pane opens on the right. Here we can choose a suggested prompt or enter one in the prompt box. For example, I'll say, do I have any messages from Mike? I'll press enter to send it. Copilot combs through relevant chats and emails and comes up with a response. Again, it includes citations, and there's even an option to copy its response. We can continue chatting about this same subject, for example, by choosing a suggested follow-up prompt, like, when is the Smart Office information meeting scheduled? Copilot again answers using the relevant information. I'll click the X to close the Copilot pane. Finally, there's an even quicker way to get a gist of an email or a thread in Outlook. Just select the relevant message in Outlook. The message opens in the reading pane, and at the top of the reading pane, I can see the button Summary by Copilot. Click there to generate a summary. Again, you'll see the option to copy the summary to your clipboard. If you have follow-up questions, you can click on Ask Copilot to open the Copilot chat pane. But again, I'm going to close this pane. I'll close the summary by clicking the X in the top right corner. Now you've seen how to summarize your emails with Microsoft 365 Copilot in Outlook. Microsoft 365 Copilot saves you time by automating tasks in Outlook. Want to follow up an email with a meeting invite? Just tell Copilot to schedule a meeting, adjust the details as needed, and Copilot will add it to your calendar. Need to notify colleagues of an upcoming absence? Use Copilot to quickly set up out-of-office replies. I've got the new Outlook desktop app open. To get started using actions with Copilot, in the ribbon, click on Copilot. The Copilot chat pane opens. Here you'll find starter prompts, including schedule. I'll select this prompt, which gets filled into the prompt area. Find time to meet with adds a slash, which allows us to reference files, meetings, emails, or people. From the menu, I'll open the People tab, and I can either type the name of a person or select one from the list. I'll select my colleague, Marcus North, and add some details to complete the prompt. Find time to meet with Marcus North next week about the Smart Office budget. Click the send arrow to submit the prompt, and Copilot responds with a card with details for an event. It's given it a default name, Smart Office budget. It's chosen a time next Monday, and it's added myself and Marcus North as participants. In the card, you'll find options to send, edit the invitation, and view it on the calendar. It's a good idea to go over the details first, so click on Edit. A window opens with the event form. Here I can change any details as needed. For example, under Find a Time, I can select a different suggested time where we're both available. And I'll scroll down to the Message area where I can manually enter a message, or instead click on the Copilot icon to draft a message with Copilot. We can see some suggested prompts. I'll enter my own prompt, invite Marcus to a meeting to discuss the Smart Office budget, and again click the send arrow, and Copilot generates a message. Scrolling down, I can enter a new prompt describing any changes I want made. I can choose keep it, discard, or modify content, for example, retry or make it shorter. I'll choose keep it to add this message, and now click send to send out the invitation. With Copilot, it's even possible to schedule a meeting from an email. So in my inbox, I'm going to select this message to open it in the reading pane. Here, my colleague Mike Jones is asking about a time to meet to discuss one of our shared projects. In the pane, I'll activate my cursor in the prompt area and type schedule a meeting to follow up on this email. When I send the prompt, Copilot responds with another meeting card called Follow Up on Smart Home Project. It has again suggested a time next week. It displays the date and participants, including Mike Jones. Again, we can choose to send or edit the invitation. To see the event on the calendar, I'll click View. Now, when I click Send, I can see the event has been added to my calendar on next Monday's date. Another way to save time using Copilot is to schedule out of office. Again, in the Copilot chat pane, I'll ask Copilot to schedule out of office for June 1st to June 15th. And when I hit send, Copilot responds with some details about the out of office, which I can edit if needed. At the top, I can see the dates for the duration. If I want to add a specific time, I can click on Edit Time and choose a time from the dropdown. I'll choose a new start time. And we can also edit the automatic reply. Scroll down to see options to save and manage in settings. I'll click Save to submit these changes. If you want to configure any additional options, just click on Manage in Settings. The Settings window opens. Here you can configure options like block my calendar for this period, automatically decline new invitations for events that occur during this period, and decline and cancel my meetings during this period. I'll select this last option and click Save to update the changes. I'll close the Settings menu and close the Copilot pane. Now you've seen how to perform actions in Outlook with Copilot. Do you ever have trouble keeping up with all your communications in Teams? With Microsoft 365 Copilot, you can instantly get insights and summaries for messages exchanged in your chats and channels. A quick way to get caught up on messages exchanged in a chat is to use the facilitator agent to generate AI notes for everyone in the chat. I've got a group chat open in the Teams desktop app. I'm going to go to the toolbar at the top of the chat and click on the Open AI Notes button. This opens the AI Notes pane. To generate notes, click the Turn On button. Now AI notes have been generated and they'll be visible to everybody in the chat. In the chat itself, we can see a message warning people that Facilitator has been turned on and is taking notes. And in the AI Notes pane, we can see the notes, which include citation numbers. You can click on a citation number to jump to the relevant message. And you'll also see an option to copy the notes. If you want to turn off Facilitator and disable the AI Notes, just click on the Settings button at the top of the AI Notes pane. In the overlay that opens, switch off the toggle for AI-generated notes. The notes will be hidden for everybody in the chat. Now let's close the AI Notes pane. Besides generating notes for everybody in a chat, you can also use Copilot to get private insights about messages exchanged in a chat or channel. The messages must have been exchanged in the last 30 days, and there must be enough messages in the conversation for the feature to work. Currently, this feature works just for the messages themselves and not for files or loops in the chat or channel. To get insights using Copilot, let's go back up to the toolbar and select the Copilot icon. Now we can enter a custom prompt in the prompt box at the bottom, or view suggestions by clicking on the View Prompts button. Prompt suggestions include highlights from the past day, highlights from the past 7 or past 30 days, what decisions were made, and what are the open items. I'm going to select What are the open items, and Copilot instantly responds to my prompt. Again, it includes citations to the messages it references, and an option to copy the response. Now I'll close the Copilot pane, and let's check out how to use Copilot in a channel. So I'll go to the app bar on the left and switch to the Teams app. I'm going to select one of my channels, the general channel of my company-wide Humotic team. To use Copilot in a channel, you'll need to expand the replies to a thread. So, for example, I'll click where it says Open 8 replies from Mike Jones, Lisa Washington, and Marcus North. Now I can see all of the replies to this particular message. To use Copilot, I'll go up to the toolbar at the top and again click on the Copilot icon. Again, the Copilot pane opens on the right-hand side. This time, let's enter a custom prompt. For example, are there any action items? Click Send. Copilot responds based on the information from the thread. I'll click the Copilot icon again to close the Copilot pane. Now you've seen how to use Microsoft 365 Copilot in a Teams, chat, or channel. Microsoft 365 Copilot in Teams acts as a virtual assistant helping you prepare for upcoming meetings, follow ongoing discussion, and review a thorough summary of past events. First, you can use Copilot to prepare for upcoming meetings. Copilot will gather information like transcripts of previous meetings in the series, files shared, and emails related to the meeting to generate a response. I've got the calendar screen open in the Teams desktop app. From here, let's find a meeting. Now click on any meeting you want to prepare for. In the overlay that opens, select Prepare with Copilot. The event window opens.
Let's scroll down to see a summary generated by Copilot. Here we can find an overview of the meeting, a list of tasks extracted by Copilot, including links to any relevant files, and a list of references. Now we can click on a link or a reference to open the relevant document in the browser. I'm going to close my browser window now to return to Teams, and close this event window as well. Next, we can use Copilot to get caught up on ongoing meetings. In order for Copilot to know what's said in the meeting, either transcription must be enabled or IT admin must have activated a setting allowing Copilot without a transcription. However, in addition to the content of the meeting itself, Copilot also has access to whatever is said in the meeting chat. So in the calendar, I'm going to click on my ongoing meeting, then select Join. I'll switch off my microphone and click Join Now to enter the meeting. At the top, a pop-up opens with the option for me to launch the Copilot pane. I can also open Copilot by going up to the toolbar at the top and clicking on Copilot. So now the Copilot pane opens on the right. If I want this to be bigger, I can click on the pop-out icon, and this pops out Copilot into a new window. Now I can use Copilot to get caught up on this meeting, and everything that Copilot says will be private only to me. I can enter a custom prompt or click on View Prompts to see some suggestions like Recap meeting so far and list action items. Let's select Recap meeting so far. Copilot responds by catching me up on everything that I've missed, including key topics of the meeting. It even includes citations to part of the transcript, which we can mouse over to see more context. You'll find an option to copy the response, and you can even click Open in Word to view the summary in a new Word document which opens in the browser. Once again, I'm going to close this browser window to return to Teams. Next, I'll close the Copilot chat window and click on the Leave button to leave the meeting. When prompted to schedule a follow-up meeting, I'll select Dismiss. Now, even after a meeting has concluded, you can still use Copilot to get information that you might have missed. On my calendar, I'm going to select the meeting that I just left. My colleagues have left the meeting as well. And in the overlay, I'll click on Chat to go to the meeting chat. Now I can either select the link to view a recap, which appears in the chat, or go to the Recap tab at the top. Here I can review the transcript along with an AI summary. I'll scroll down to get a look at the summary and follow-up tasks. You'll see an option to copy all. In this AI-generated recap, you can also select the Mentions tab to see when specific people were mentioned. Now, if you want to follow up with Copilot about things that were said in the meeting, go to the toolbar at the top and click on Copilot. The Copilot pane reopens on the right, and now you can ask anything about the meeting. For example, what are tasks for me? Click Send, and Copilot generates a response. Now I'll close the Copilot pane. Now you've seen how to use Microsoft 365 Copilot with Teams meetings. When you're trying to follow along with a meeting, taking notes at the same time can be challenging and distracting. The Facilitator agent, powered by Microsoft 365 Copilot, solves this problem by automating the creation of meeting notes and tasks in Teams. As of this recording, the Facilitator agent is currently in public preview. You can check whether you have early access and enable public preview in the About Teams section of Settings. Let's see how to add Facilitator when creating a meeting. From the Teams desktop Meet screen, I'm going to select Schedule a Meeting, which takes me to the New Meeting form. To enable AI-generated notes in a meeting, you'll see the facilitator option. Make sure to switch the toggle on. Now, if I scroll down in this form, you'll notice that under the Notes section, the meeting notes have automatically been created. Right now, this is blank, but during the meeting, they'll be filled in real time by the facilitator agent. I'm going to click Close to leave the new meeting screen. When prompted to discard my changes, I'll select Discard. Now let's see how to use Facilitator in an ongoing meeting. So here on the Meet screen, under the Up Next section, I'm going to find a meeting I've got going on, and I'll click Join. In the Join screen, I'm going to switch off my microphone, and now click Join Now to join the meeting. The Notes pane opens automatically on the right. Now you can toggle the pane off and on by clicking the Notes button in the toolbar at the top. If you're an organizer, co-organizer, or presenter, you should also have authorization to turn Facilitator on or off during a meeting. Just click on More. Here we can see I have the option to turn off Facilitator. I'll click More again to close the context menu. And now let's take a look at the Notes pane. Notice that the meeting has been going on, and so Facilitator has already started filling in the agenda with different checkbox items. Scrolling down, we can see detailed meeting notes, as well as follow-up tasks. In addition to following along with these notes, we can also use Facilitator in a meeting chat. In the toolbar at the top, select Chat to open the meeting chat in the right-hand sidebar. I'm going to click the pop out icon to open the chat in a new window, and I'll maximize the window. In the chat, I can see a message saying that Facilitator has been turned on and is taking notes, and Facilitator itself has messaged the chat. It explains some of its capabilities, which is taking notes live during the meeting, alerting participants about the halfway point and when to wrap up, and also answering questions in the chat. So let's ask a question in the chat to Facilitator by using an @mention. Simply type the @ symbol. In the list of suggestions, choose Facilitator. Now we can enter a custom prompt, or we can choose a suggested prompt. For example, search the web for, highlights from the conversation, what decisions were made, or show the open items in a table. I'll choose this suggested prompt and click Send. Facilitator responds by generating a table with all of the open items from the meeting. Now, it's possible to access Facilitator and the meeting notes even after a meeting has ended. I'm going to close this chat window. Now I'm back in the meeting. I'm going to open the Leave button dropdown and select End Meeting. In the prompt that opens, click End to confirm. When prompted to pick up where I left off, I'll select Dismiss, returning to the Meet screen. To find meeting notes, you can go to the meeting chat. To do this, I'm going to go to the left-hand navigation and select Chat. Then find and open the chat for my meeting. In the chat, you should find a card with the option View Recap. Click there to open the meeting recap in a new window. Here, select the Notes tab, and this should display the Facilitator-generated notes. Note that even though the notes are generated by Facilitator, meeting participants can still interact with and edit the notes. So for example, in the agenda, I can check off an agenda item, or I can even add an agenda item. Now these meeting notes are a loop component. As with all loop components, you'll see some options in the top right corner for managing them. These include shared locations, copy component, and see who has access. Now you've seen how to use AI-generated notes with Microsoft 365 Copilot in Teams. The interpreter agent from Microsoft 365 Copilot helps you transcend language barriers in Teams meetings by translating speech into your target language in real time.
As of this recording, this feature is currently in public preview. You can check whether you have early access and enable public preview in the About Teams section of Settings. So I've got the Teams desktop app open. I'm going to go to my calendar in the left-hand app bar, click on a meeting, and select Join. Now click Join Now to join the meeting. Let's start by configuring my own voice for interpretation. So I'm going to turn on the interpreter agent by going up to the toolbar and selecting More. Here I'll mouse over Language and Speech, and then select Turn on Interpreter for me. Interpreter is on. I'll click on Interpreter Settings in the prompt that opens to go to the settings. Now, if you're connecting for the first time, you may just be prompted to choose the language directly. Now, first, since I'm going to configure how my own voice would sound for other people, I'm going to choose a different language from this dropdown. Currently, Mandarin Chinese, English, French, German, Italian, Japanese, Korean, Portuguese, and Spanish. I'll select Chinese Mandarin. Next, under your voice when interpreted, you can choose Simulate My Voice or Automated Voice. I'll select Automated Voice. From the dropdown, we can choose a voice like Ava or let's try Andrew. If you want to hear a preview, click on Test Voice.
嘿，你好，希望你今天过得愉快。
But if I want other people to hear my actual voice when I'm talking in the interpreted language, I can choose Simulate My Voice. Now I'll click Confirm. Now everything that I say
现在
gets
我将单击
interpreted
confirm.
into
现在
Chinese.
我所说的一切都被翻译成中文。
I'll switch off my mic. And now I'm going to configure these settings to interpret others into my target language, English. So when the interpreter is active in the top left corner next to the timer, you should see AI is interpreting this meeting, this AI icon. You can click there, and then in the overlay, you can choose Turn Off for me if you no longer want to use it, or instead I'll select Settings. This time in the interpreter settings, I'll open the dropdown and I am going to select English. Under balance volume, I can use this slider and drag it to the right to get more interpretation audio, or to the left to get more original audio instead. Now I'm going to click on Confirm. Now my colleague Alejandra has entered the call. Notice when she begins speaking Spanish, her voice is interpreted live into English.
Hola John, gracias por la invitación para revisar
Hi,
los
John.
términos de este acuerdo. Thank you for the invitation to review the terms of this agreement.
Now to turn off the interpreter, let's go back up to the toolbar and select More. In the context menu that opens, mouse over Language and Speech again, then mouse over Interpreter. Here I've got the options Interpreter Settings. Since I am the organizer, I have the option Turn Off for All. If I want to turn off the feature only for me, I can select instead Turn Off for Me, and the interpreter feature gets deactivated for myself, but others can continue using it in the meeting. Now you've seen how to use the interpreter agent powered by Microsoft 365 Copilot in Teams. If you're a Microsoft 365 Copilot license holder, you can build custom agents to streamline your workflows. These agents are powered by Copilot Studio and grounded in your organization's data. Several templates are available to support a variety of specific use cases. The Customer Insight Assistant template lets users quickly create an agent to help teams gather valuable information about customers, from industry trends and competitive analysis to customer initiatives and partnering. Currently, you can create an agent in the Microsoft 365 Copilot app or in Teams. Just be aware that some features of custom agents require a dedicated Microsoft 365 Copilot license. Starting in the Copilot screen of Microsoft 365 Copilot, click on Create an Agent in the right-hand pane to launch the Copilot Studio overlay. In the Describe tab, you will find various templates to help you get started, or you can enter a custom prompt to describe what you want the agent to do. For this tutorial, I'm going to choose the Customer Insights Assistant template. This template is designed to provide relevant information and insights about customers to your team. We can continue chatting to make any customizations. For example, I'll ask the Agent Builder to change the name to Homotic Customer Agent. I can see the name has been updated in the preview on the right. To set up your agent in detail, switch to the Configure tab. We can change the icon by clicking the pencil next to the current icon. In the Change Icon overlay, click on Change Icon and choose an image in File Explorer, then click Open. If you want to add a background color, click Set Background and use the color picker and slider to choose a color. Select Close, then click Save to update the icon. You can also edit the name, description, and instructions for your agent. It's a good idea to review the instructions thoroughly and even consult the documentation which is linked below. You can customize these instructions however you see fit. For example, instead of communicate in a formal manner, let's change this to communicate in a friendly manner. Scrolling down to the Knowledge section, here you can customize the knowledge source for your agent to reference. Depending on your license, you can specify up to 20 knowledge sources and add Microsoft Graph connectors. Click Browse to look for a SharePoint site, file, or folder, or paste in a public URL or link to a SharePoint location. I'll paste the link to my customer database on SharePoint. If you want the agent to access information on the internet, leave the web search toggle on. If you only want it to access your internal sources, you can switch this toggle off. The knowledge sources are listed below. Next to each one, you'll find a 3 dots icon for options for managing them. Scrolling down further, you'll find special capabilities that you can toggle on for your agent: Code Interpreter and Image Generator. I don't need these capabilities for my agent, so let's move on to the starter prompts. We can see these same prompts in the preview on the right. Now you can edit the title or message of a prompt as required, but I'm going to leave them as is. Click the trash can icon to remove a prompt you don't need. Drag and drop prompts to reorder them using the grab handles. Below, there's also the option to add a new starter prompt if desired. It's important to test your agent before publishing. Let's select a starter prompt. What insights do we have about our customer? I'll edit this to include the name of the customer, then click Send. The agent responds with a detailed breakdown including an overview, top products or services, and other insights. When you're ready to publish, click on Create to finalize your agent. A prompt opens confirming that the agent was created successfully. Here you'll find a link to the agent that you can copy and an option to change sharing settings if you want other members of your organization to use the agent. Click on Go to Agent to open the new custom agent in Copilot. Your agent will appear in the list of agents on the right. This has been an overview of creating custom agents in the Microsoft 365 Copilot app. Microsoft 365 Copilot saves you time by automating tasks in Outlook. Want to follow up an email with a meeting invite? Just tell Copilot to schedule a meeting, adjust the details as needed, and Copilot will add it to your calendar. Need to notify colleagues of an upcoming absence? use Copilot to quickly set up out-of-office replies. I've got the new Outlook desktop app open. To get started using actions with Copilot, in the ribbon, click on Copilot. The Copilot chat pane opens. Here you'll find starter prompts, including schedule. I'll select this prompt, which gets filled into the prompt area. Find time to meet with adds a slash, which allows us to reference files, meetings, emails, or people. From the menu, I'll open the People tab, and I can either type the name of a person or select one from the list. I'll select my colleague, Marcus North, and add some details to complete the prompt. Find time to meet with Marcus North next week about the Smart Office budget. Click the send arrow to submit the prompt, and Copilot responds with a card with details for an event. It's given it a default name, Smart Office budget. It's chosen a time next Monday, and it's added myself and Marcus North as participants. In the card, you'll find options to send, edit the invitation, and view it on the calendar. It's a good idea to go over the details first, so click on Edit. A window opens with the event form. Here I can change any details as needed. For example, under Find a Time, I can select a different suggested time where we're both available. And I'll scroll down to the message area where I can manually enter a message, or instead click on the Copilot icon to draft a message with Copilot. We can see some suggested prompts. I'll enter my own prompt, invite Marcus to a meeting to discuss the Smart Office budget, and again click the send arrow, and Copilot generates a message. Scrolling down, I can enter a new prompt describing any changes I want made. I can choose keep it, discard, or modify content, for example, retry or make it shorter. I'll choose keep it to add this message, and now click send to send out the invitation. With Copilot, it's even possible to schedule a meeting from an email. So in my inbox, I'm going to select this message to open it in the reading pane. Here, my colleague Mike Jones is asking about a time to meet to discuss one of our shared projects. In the pane, I'll activate my cursor in the prompt area and type schedule a meeting to follow up on this email. When I send the prompt, Copilot responds with another meeting card called Follow Up on Smart Home Project. It has again suggested a time next week. It displays the date and participants, including Mike Jones. Again, we can choose to send or edit the invitation. To see the event on the calendar, I'll click View. Now, when I click Send, I can see the event has been added to my calendar on next Monday's date. Another way to save time using Copilot is to schedule out of office. Again, in the Copilot chat pane, I'll ask Copilot to schedule out of office for June 1st to June 15th. And when I hit send, Copilot responds with some details about the out of office, which I can edit if needed. At the top, I can see the dates for the duration. If I want to add a specific time, I can click on Edit Time and choose a time from the dropdown. I'll choose a new start time. And we can also edit the automatic reply. Scroll down to see options to save and manage in settings. I'll click Save to submit these changes. If you want to configure any additional options, just click on Manage in Settings. The Settings window opens. Here you can configure options like block my calendar for this period, automatically decline new invitations for events that occur during this period, and decline and cancel my meetings during this period. I'll select this last option and click Save to update the changes. I'll close the Settings menu and close the Copilot pane. Now you've seen how to perform actions in Outlook with Copilot.
Pivot tables and pivot charts effectively summarize data, find patterns, and visually present information for easy comparison and insights. Copilot in Excel automates data analysis by suggesting ways to use these tools and allows you to add the visualizations to a new sheet for better interpretation and presentation. In this video, learn how Copilot in Excel can generate insights and help visualize data through pivot tables and pivot charts. Before using Copilot to create pivot tables and pivot charts, make sure your data is organized in a table format with column headers and unique records for each row. Also ensure that the workbook has been saved to OneDrive. To do that, you can go to the top and then click on the title. And there you can see the file name and the location. For now, you can click away to close the window. Now, let's explore how Copilot can help you uncover general insights from your data. To do this, go to the Home tab and in the ribbon, click on the Copilot icon. The Copilot pane opens where you can find suggested prompts, such as Show Data Insights. Click on it and wait a few seconds to get the results. Don't forget to resize the Copilot pane to get a better view of the results. To do that, click on the border and then drag to the left until you can see the results in the Copilot pane. Now you can scroll up in the pane to see the pivot chart. For example, to analyze discount by ship date, you can also scroll down a little bit to see this paragraph with information about those insights. Do not forget that at the bottom, you also find some follow-up questions. For example, get deeper analysis results using Python. Can I see another insight? And add all insights to grid. If you click on this option, all those insights will be added to a new worksheet. Now, to get more targeted results, ask a specific question about your data. For example, in the Copilot pane, activate your cursor in the box and then type your own questions. In this case, use a pivot table to show the total sales per region and segment. Now, you can click on the send icon and wait a few moments to get the result. As you can see, Copilot will generate the pivot table based on your specifications. To get access to the pivot table, just scroll up in the pane where you can see the result. Now, if you would like to add this pivot table to a new worksheet, you just need to scroll down a little bit, and just below the pivot table, you have the button to add to a new sheet. Then click on it, and then you have this result. For example, you have the pivot table. You can click on it, and then access to the pivot table fields pane. Now, to go back to the Copilot pane, just click on the icon on the right side. Once you have added the pivot table to a new sheet, you have a couple of new options. The first one allows you to go back to your data, and the second one to undo the last action. In this case, click on Go Back to Data, and then you can continue analyzing your data. To do that, we are going to activate the cursor in the box, and then, if you would like to use pivot charts to find trends, write the instruction in the Copilot box. For example, show sales trend over time. Press the Enter key to send a request, and then wait a few seconds to get the result. This time you can scroll up in the pane to see the pivot chart, and click on Add to a new sheet to get more details. For example, we have the pivot chart and the pivot table. Again, we can go back to our data just by clicking on the name of the worksheet. Click on it. And then you also have access to the Copilot pane. For now, you can close it by clicking on the close icon at the top right of the pane. Now you have learned how to use Copilot to enhance your data analysis and visualization with pivot tables and pivot charts in Excel.
The Fall 2023 Windows Update includes a preview version of Copilot, an AI assistant you can use right on your PC. In this course, you'll learn how to use Copilot to effortlessly perform a variety of tasks. Discover how to get detailed answers to any question consult sources for the answers, and ask follow-up questions. See how to summarize text in your clipboard or web browser, and analyze screenshots and other images. Finally, find out how to tap into the creative potential of AI by generating a wide variety of text and images from a simple prompt. If you have the latest update in Windows 11, you should have access to the Copilot Generative AI tool right on your PC. This video will show you how to enable and hide Copilot in the taskbar. We'll briefly explore the interface and see some options that are available. So on my PC, which is running Windows 11, we can see in the taskbar that I've got the Copilot preview icon. This is because I've installed the update. Now, if you think you've installed the latest update and you're not seeing this icon in your taskbar, you can check a few things. So let's go to Settings. I'll click the Start menu. And in the Start menu, select the Settings icon to open up the Settings application. Notice in the top left corner that I've got a Microsoft account, a live email address, associated with my Windows session. This is a requirement for the update to work. If you don't have an account added to your PC, you can do so in the Accounts page in the left-hand navigation bar. If you're not sure you've installed the right update, you can check for that by selecting the Windows Update tab and checking your update history. Now, if both of these things are true for you and you're still not seeing that icon, it could be that it's simply not activated in your taskbar. So to add it, let's go to Personalization in this left-hand navigation bar. I'll scroll down and now select Taskbar. Okay, notice here that I've got a Copilot toggle and it's switched on. If after learning more about it, you decide you don't want to show the preview version of Copilot in the taskbar, you can simply switch this toggle off. Now I'm going to close the Settings menu and go down to my taskbar and click that icon to open Copilot. It opens as a kind of side panel on the right of my screen. And this is a very simple interface. So at the top, we've got an option to choose a conversation style, which will determine the kind of responses Copilot gives. You can have more creative, more balanced, or more precise. You'll see a suggested action that Copilot can help you do. You can click here to add that request to the chat and see that in action. Now in the bottom, we've got a chat box where we can enter a question or something to say to Copilot. And of course, the send button here in the chat. If you'd rather dictate a response, there's a microphone icon. And in the bottom left corner of this chat box, we've got an add an image button, which you can use to paste or upload an image that Copilot can analyze. We'll see more about these things in future videos in this course. Now finally, if we go up to the top right corner, there's this 3 dots button. We can click here to open a menu of more options. And here you'll find options to refresh the chat, read the terms of use. There's a privacy statement. You can send feedback. Since this is a preview, Microsoft will use your feedback to improve Copilot. You can learn more about the app, and there is a settings option. I'm going to click Settings. Currently, there's only one setting here, and this is to let Copilot in Windows use Microsoft Edge content. Now, I've got this toggle switched on, and this will allow me to ask questions about the content in my active Edge tab. Of course, if you don't want to share that content, you can always switch this option off. I'll click the back arrow to close these settings. And now I'll click the X icon in the top right to close Copilot. Now you've seen how to activate and launch the preview version of Copilot in Windows. Copilot brings the convenience of Bing Chat, powered by GPT-4, directly to your PC. Like Bing Chat, Copilot can answer an almost infinite variety of questions in one of its 3 conversation styles. I've got Copilot open in my PC. At the top of the Copilot side panel, we can choose a conversation style, which the app will use for its responses. So you can choose a more creative style. This is meant to be a more imaginative chat, which could be used for things like creative writing or brainstorming ideas. There's more precise, which will give you a concise and straightforward chat when you need a very straight to the point answer. This might be, for example, getting information with pointed questions or solving math problems. Now, the default conversation style, which is selected, is more balanced, and this is meant to be sort of a combination of the two styles. Microsoft bills this as an informative and friendly chat. I'm looking for a straight to the point, concise answer, so I'm going to select more precise. And now I'll go down to the chat box and click inside and type in my question. It's been a while since I've taken a math class. I want a refresher. I'll ask, what is the Pythagorean theorem? There's a typo in my question, but that's not a problem for Copilot. We can click the Submit button in the bottom right or simply press Enter. Copilot is thinking. We can see that it's searching for Pythagorean theorem, so it searches Bing for a response, and then it generates this response. Now it's starting to answer. We can click Stop Responding if we don't want it to go on. And now I'm going to scroll up and take a look at this answer. Notice that part of the response is underlined. We can click here or in the hyperlinked number to go to the source of this answer. And if we scroll down, we'll see this Learn More section where we've got all of the sources. So here it's Wikipedia, and I can click there to open up this source article on the Pythagorean theorem in Wikipedia in my Edge browser. So I'm going to close this Edge window. Now, you may notice also that in the bottom right corner of the response, there's a number. In my case, it's 1 of 30. So this is the first response, and I've got 30 responses in the chat. If you run out of responses, you can simply start a new chat, which you can also do if you just want to change the subject. So the quickest way to do that is to navigate down to the chat box and to click the New Topic button, the chat bubble icon, and this refreshes the chat. Now we can again choose a conversation style. So this time I'd like a more creative response. I'll click More Creative. And instead of typing my question, I can also dictate one. So to do so, I'm going to click the microphone icon, and then I'll speak my question. How can I use Copilot in Windows 11 to be more productive? When I'm finished speaking, my question is automatically submitted.
Searching for Copilot in Windows 11. Windows Copilot is a new feature in Windows 11 that provides centralized AI assistance to help you easily take action and get things done. You can use Windows Copilot to access various Windows features.
You can see that Copilot speaks the response. You can click where the microphone button was to stop the response, which is what I've just done. And of course, we can also read the response here in the window. Now you've seen how to chat with Copilot in Windows 11. Since Copilot is integrated into Windows 11, you can use it to control various aspects of your PC. See how to activate and deactivate features like dark mode and do not disturb, as well as how to access specific settings pages. I've got Copilot open on my PC. Now I can use it to activate a variety of system settings just by telling it what I want it to do. I'll click inside the chat box and now type in a command. I want to activate dark mode, so I'll type turn on dark mode and press enter to submit. Then it generates a dialog box with the option to confirm or say no thanks. I'll click yes to turn on dark mode. If I want to turn it off, I can easily do this with Copilot as well. I'll type turn off and press enter. And in the new dialog box that opens, once again click yes to confirm.
We can do the same thing with Do Not Disturb. So turn on Do Not Disturb. I'll submit the request. And once again, click Yes in the dialog box that opens to confirm. Now this turns on Do Not Disturb, which will mute my notifications. One of the follow-up questions here is, how do I turn off the Do Not Disturb mode? I'm going to click there, and when I do, another dialog box appears, allowing me to turn off Do Not Disturb mode. I'll click Yes to turn it off. Now, it may be that you want to manage a part of your system and you're not exactly sure where to go in your settings. For example, if I want to manage my Bluetooth devices, I'll type in Manage Bluetooth Devices and press Enter. And now Copilot has opened up the Bluetooth and Devices page of the Setting app for me, so I can find the settings that I need. And if we scroll up in the chat, we can see that Copilot also asks me if I want to open the Settings app. It's gone ahead and done that without a need for confirmation. There's also a dialog box here asking me if I want to turn on Bluetooth. For now, I'll click No Thanks. And now I'll click the X icon in the top right to close the Settings app. And now you've seen how to use Copilot to control your Windows 11 system. You can use Copilot to quickly take a screenshot. In addition, Copilot can analyze images copied to your clipboard, on the web, or uploaded from your PC. See how you can use these features in this tutorial. I've got a company's organizational chart open in PowerPoint, and Copilot is open on the right edge of my PC. I'd like to take a screenshot of this chart so I can ask Copilot some questions. So Copilot can help me take a screenshot. I'll go down to the chat box, click Inside, and ask Copilot to take a screenshot. Press Enter to submit my query. Copilot takes a moment to think, and it automatically opens the snipping tool for me. Now I can use this snipping tool to take a screenshot. So I can select a rectangular mode, freeform mode, the default window mode, or full screen mode to take a screenshot. I'll select rectangular mode and now click and drag with my mouse to draw a rectangle over the chart and release to take a screenshot. Now, instantly, Copilot asks me if I want to add the copied image to my chat. So I'll click Add. And now I can ask it anything about the screenshot simply by typing in a question. I'll ask Explain this image and press Enter. Copilot takes a moment to analyze the image, and it comes up with a pretty detailed description. It understands that this is an organizational chart. It tells me about the color of the chart, the different people and their positions who are represented in the chart. But of course, we can ask Copilot to refine it a little bit. So for example, if I want this description to be briefer, I just want a summary, maybe for my PowerPoint presentation, I can say, make a list of Hamotic employees and their positions. Now I'll press Enter, and it summarizes this information in a bulleted list. If you wanted, you could also ask Copilot to create alternative text or captions. But let's go on to an image I've got saved to my PC. So there are a few ways that we can add images from the web or the PC. One is to click this Add an Image button in the bottom left corner of the chat box. And here you'll find a field where you can paste in an image or a link, or select Upload from this device. I'll select this last option, and now this opens File Explorer where I can see the image that I'd like to add. So I'm going to select this image and click Open to add the image to the chat. Now note that it's also possible to drag and drop an image from your PC or from the web. Now I'll ask, what is this? Press Enter to submit the query along with the image. Once again, Copilot takes a moment to analyze the image, and it comes up with a description of this object that I want to identify. It's a wireless router, it even tells me the brand, and it gives quite a lot of details about this.
Now, if I want, I can ask follow-up questions. For example, if I want to find this object and buy it on the web, I can select the follow-up question, what is the price of this router, from the suggestions. You can also ask Copilot to recommend similar products. Now it searches the web for the price of this brand of wireless router. If I scroll up, I can also see that it gives me some links and ads to buy this product or similar products. So now you've seen how to analyze images in Copilot and a few applications. Copilot uses a powerful large language model to perform a variety of text processing tasks from summary to translation. You can ask Copilot about content open in Microsoft Edge as well as text in your clipboard. I've got my company's About page open in Microsoft Edge, and Copilot is open on the right edge of my PC. I could go down to the chat box and ask Copilot just about anything about the website that I have open, and it will be able to respond. However, I can see in the center of this Copilot side panel that Summarize the Page in Microsoft Edge is a suggested action. So I'm just going to click there to go ahead and automatically submit this question, Summarize the Page in Microsoft Edge. I can see that Copilot is searching my active Microsoft Edge tab, and now it generates a response based on the page that I have open. So it tells me correctly that the web page context is about a company called Homatic, that it's a company that designs and builds smart homes, that its team works with cutting edge technology, and it tells me all of this in a pretty concise way with bullet points. I can ask any follow-up question I want about this text or subject, or choose one of the suggestions below. So one of the suggested questions is, how can I contact Homatic for more information? I'll select this suggestion, which is submitted to the chat. And now Copilot searches the web for information about the company. It gives me some contact information and the different sources. Maybe you want to work with text that's in an app other than Edge, whether it's in an email or a document. I'm going to go down to the taskbar and click the Word icon to switch over to Microsoft Word, where I have a document open. And I'm going to use the keyboard shortcut Control-A to select all of the text in this document, and the keyboard shortcut Control-C to copy the text to my clipboard. Now, immediately in the chat, we can see this option to send selected or copied text to chat. We can actually see a copy of this text, and I can use my mouse scroll wheel or this little scroll bar to scroll down and check that all of the text is there, keeping in mind that it can hold up to 2,000 characters. So I'm going to click Send to send this long text to the chat, and I'll scroll down to see the follow-up in the chat, asking me what I want to do with the chat. Here we've got a few options through the suggestions. We can explain the text, revise, summarize, or expand. These are probably the most common things you'd want to do with it, but really the sky's the limit if you want to ask your own questions. I'm going to select Summarize, and we can see that Copilot now generates a summary, and this is a significantly shortened version of the text. Another thing that you can do with text that could come in handy is to translate. Let's say I want to share this summary with someone I know who speaks Chinese. I'll click inside the chat box and type, "Translate your last answer into Mandarin Chinese." I'll press Enter to submit this question, and sure enough, Copilot immediately generates a translation of the text. I'll click Stop Responding to stop this response. And now you've seen how to process text with Copilot. With Copilot, you can access all the creative potential of generative AI right from your PC. Copilot uses GPT-4's large language model to produce any kind of text from emails to blog posts and more. It also harnesses the power of DALL-E 3 to create images from a prompt. I've got Copilot open on the right edge of my PC. Now, I need a little help writing a happy birthday email to a colleague, so I'm going to ask Copilot, First, I'm going to choose a conversation style. I'll select More Creative for this task. And now I'll click inside the chat box and type in my prompt. Help me write a happy birthday email to my colleague, Julia Campbell. From me, John. Now I'll click Submit. This submits the question to the chat. Copilot takes a moment to think. And first, it opens a dialog box asking me if I want to open Outlook. I'll click Yes. So Copilot opens the Outlook app for me. I'll click the New Email button in the ribbon to start a new email. And we can see that Copilot has also responded with a draft of an email. I'll scroll down to read this draft. It looks pretty good, pretty detailed, but it's a little long, so Copilot can easily tweak the text. In this case, I'm going to say, please make this shorter and add some emojis. I'll press Enter to submit, and Copilot generates the revised text. So I'm going to scroll up, hover over this text, and you'll notice there's a pop-up with some options we can like or dislike to give feedback to Microsoft, and there's a copy button, which I'll click. This copies the text to the clipboard. I'll click inside my email body and use Control V to paste in this email. It's always a good idea to reread and maybe revise the text. So I'm going to select and delete parts of this text that I don't need. And next I'd like to add an image to spruce up this email. So once again, I'll click inside the conversation box and type in my prompt. Create a picture of a blue birthday cake that says Julia. I'll press Enter to submit. Copilot generates the image, and it actually suggests a few different images instead of just one. Like with text, we can revise these images. So I'm going to use a suggestion below to tweak these images a little bit. I'll select the suggestion, can you add some candles to the cake? And now I've got some suggested images with lots of candles. I'll choose the one I like, and I can actually drag and drop to quickly insert a link to the image in Bing Image Creator here in the email. So I'll drag and drop an image right into the email body, and this adds the link. I can open the link here in the email, or instead I'll click the image in Copilot to see a larger version of this image in Bing Image Creator, which opens in Microsoft Edge. You'll notice there are some options for managing this image. We can share, save it to Bing Image Creator, and download the image. There's also an option which is a little cut off, which is to customize the image. And if we right-click an image in Copilot, we'll also see some different options for managing it. For example, we can save the link, copy the link, save the image, and copy the image. I'll click away to close this context menu, and I'll close this Edge window as well. And now you've seen how to generate images and text in Copilot for Windows 11.
Copilot Chat is an innovative feature designed to enhance productivity and streamline communication within the Microsoft ecosystem. By providing valuable insights from OneDrive files, Copilot Chat empowers users to effortlessly summarize, analyze, and compare multiple files stored in OneDrive for Business. Here we have opened Microsoft 365 home page. Now let's click on Copilot Chat icon in the app bar located on the left side of the interface. Next, let's explore the Copilot Chat interface. At the top center, you will find two tabs, that is Work and Web. You will also notice that the suggested prompts are different for the Web tab and the Work tab. In the top right corner, there is a new chat option that allows you to start a new conversation if needed. The Enterprise Data Protection option involves implementing security policies and governance to ensure compliance with standards. Additionally, the Open Recent Pages option allows users to quickly view the recently accessed pages. Now let's click on the Copilot Chats and More icon, where you will find options like About, Send Feedback, Settings, etc. Now let's click on the panel icon to hide the panel located on the right side of the interface. Next, Copilot Chat enables you to locate specific files and folders in OneDrive, making it easier to manage and retrieve important information directly within the chat interface. Now let's see how to create a prompt to find the files in your OneDrive. To begin, let's go to Message Copilot field and then type the prompt. For example, could you show me the files I edited in OneDrive this week? Now you can either press enter or click on the send icon. You can now view the search results showcasing all the files that I edited this week along with the links to access those files. Next, when you hover your mouse over the links, you will see various options that may vary depending on the specific link. For example, list key points option summarize the main ideas or important details of the document. Who contributed to this option identify the individuals or teams involved in creating or working on a specific document, and ask about this option. Use Microsoft 365 Copilot to inquire further details or clarification on a particular topic or document. Next, we will see how to get more details about the file for which. Let's select who contributed to this option, and you can view the prompt automatically added to the message field. Now let's click on the send icon. And now you can see the search results and also see the reference at the bottom. Additionally, when you move your mouse over the link once more to access the suggested prompt. Next, let's scroll down and you can see the file information in the white box. Clicking on the file name will open the file in the default application. Now let's click on the file path and you will be redirected to the OneDrive application in a new tab. Here in the navigation pane, click on My Files tab. Then let's scroll down and you can see the document here. In this video, you have learned how to use Copilot Chat to find and get information from your OneDrive files.